this week for our show, and it went well. There was a few little things I had to clean up, but overall, except for the hideous sound, obviously.
Just treat it as a learning experience.
No, I don't have time for this. You know what it takes to produce those.
Do you know why it takes that long to produce? Because you refuse to do it in an efficient manner.
It's your opinion. I don't see that stuff so many times. Listen, you don't do a show like that. You don't do a show
You're right.
like that.
I spend all the time trying to get the audio and the video right. I don't put in lots of little dainty things.
It's not fucking dainty. It's good. Well, you're insultery as hell. I'll tell you something. I'm just winding you up, man. You mean that. You mean that. Just like when you came in right in the arcade, you knew what you were saying.
I did mean
and you knew it would piss me off.
I did mean that.
And now the show's starting, and I'm already agitated. I haven't even got out of the gate. Hi, guys.
Thursday is right. We are here.
Boat's yanking my chain in here already. Good God.
So yeah, Amigos first.
Yeah. I'm blind.
Oh, sorry, I'll make that.
No, I'm getting to a point here, and I wasn't saying like I'm that. So you guys keep hassling me. Oh, it's another thing, over and over. Look how blind he is. He's an old man.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he's got the papers. I went and got fitted for a new pair of glasses yesterday. All right, with all the trimmings, all the bifocular, seamless, yakety schmockety. I went and I picked out a $28 pair of frames for these glasses. And so the chick's sitting there with me. She goes, let me tell you how it's going to go down.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
She give you that spiel.
This chick's hassling me. She goes, look at these glasses here. She says, your nose guards are gone. They're all scratched all the hell. I said, listen, whatever this chick's name was, I'm like, it's a backup pair. I was like, I was doing a favor for a sucker Monday and moving a couch, and the couch winged up, hit me in the face, gave me a black eye, and smashed my other glasses. Smashed them. Unwearable.
Is this a true story?
This is a true story. Just happened Monday. No good deed. Okay? This is a story of my life. I want that on my tombstone. I am the embodiment of that phrase. No good deed goes unpunished. So I'm like, that's why these glasses are so garbagey, is because these are the backup to the backup. I was like, so don't hassle me. She's like, all right. She says, here's the thing. She's like, normally when you get these seamless, super duper gimmicks, here's the alley, and you've got three choices of lenses. You got good, better, and best. Okay? With good, you've got an alley about like that to see through normally.
Right.
With the better alley, it's like that, and then the best is like that. Okay? She goes, with your particular prescription, your good alley is like this, and your better is like this. I was like, why? She goes, well, you're super duper grade A blind. Like, you're near the top of the food chain for blind. So I recommend you get at the bare minimum, get the better, but you really need to get the best. And I knew what that meant. So what's this going to cost me, chick? Long story short, this pair of glasses I just bought them, over $400 for this one pair of glasses, Boat. Just so people will leave me alone. I bought these things. $400. Now, I've got a work gimmick that's going to defer some of that. But I don't have any health insurance because in America, if you're a cop, they expect you to go fully blind. They don't care. No dental, no eye. And so some of this will be stomaching the cost for. But this is the most expensive pair of glasses. I bought 2 cars that cost less than this pair of glasses in my lifetime. It was a bitter pill, I guess is what I'm saying. And I asked her, I was like, has anyone else in the history of this establishment bought a pair of glasses this expensive? She said, yes. She said, we've sold a pair of $800 glasses. I was like, you're kidding me. She goes, get this. She goes, if you're out in California, New York, all the time, they'll sell glasses for $1,200 to $1,400 a pair. That's a lot of money for glasses. Your thoughts on any of this?
I've paid over $400 for glasses several times.
Okay. So this was.
You're not alone.
This wasn't this. You weren't feeling this. For me, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for me too, man.
No, I don't mean like, yes, it's an expenditure, but I mean $400 for a pair of glasses. Because what is glasses? It's 2 pieces of glass, cunningly shaped, and then with a doodad hung around. That's all it is. It's highway robbery on a grand scale. That's the end of my story.
Okay.
Nothing?
There's nothing more important than your vision.
Yeah, there is.
I guess that's not true. But your vision's very important. You want to be able to see, you know? And I'm glad that our YouTube commenters have shamed you into purchasing bifocals because you will be better off in the long run. When you're working on the instruments, when you're down and dirty, you're going to want to be able to see what's going on.
I suppose. I can see now. It's not that well. It's brutal. That was a brutal shot.
Now, it will be interesting and somewhat hilarious to hear your tales of getting used to the bifocals. Because I can't imagine having 2 different lenses in my glasses.
Listen, they told me it was no problem. They said no problem. You know, so we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, for the amount of money I paid for these things, I feel like I should have a guy that comes with me and just looks at stuff for me and says, "There's what it says."
That would be great. I'd love to have my own looker.
Remember The Scent of a Woman? You ever
Never.
seen that movie, Al Pacino? He's blind, and he has a dude that comes around and just tells him what's going on.
Really?
That's what I would like to have.
Is he
Ooh-ah!
rich? Is he a
Ooh-ah!
gangster?
What? No. What? Where'd you get that?
Well, if you're rich enough to have a guy that just walks around with you.
He's blind. The guy's blind. He
right,
needs a dude. You could be that dude.
Yeah.
In a few years, when I finally just can't see nothing, that'll be your job.
You'll call me up and say it's time.
Professional
and I'll be like,
geek.
Yes, sir.
And you just come around, and maybe I think the guy had a cane. I can whack you if you disobey. Whack. I'm blind. You'd have to tell me where you were at so I can hit you, or put your face somewhere where I can feel it, and then bam.
Bam. Just boy, I can't wait to grow old and have that to look forward to.
Seeing eye bone. Exactly. Exactly. I keep forgetting that people are watching my rants. I looked over. I was like, oh yeah,
there's already several calls of give Aaron more Patreon money so he can see better.
Listen.
So.
Unless the Patreons can provide me with more eyes, nothing's gonna happen, man.
Hey, do you think? I mean, we're only a few years away from the Neuromancer future, where you're just gonna get computer eyeballs right in the head.
Man, I'm gonna get a monofilament whip, and then we're gonna see some the deal go down. You know what I mean? I'll be slicing and dicing. Oh God, Scent of a Woman. I love it. Ooh-ah. I can't wait.
Is that where that comes from?
Yeah,
I've heard that before. Hoo-ah.
You've never seen Scent of a Woman. It's worth your.
I would not watch a movie called Scent of a Woman. That sounds gross and weird.
It's not. It's actually it's a good film. Al Pacino, come on, man, he's good.
I get confused about him and who's the other guy
Robert
that's like
De Niro.
him. Yeah. Who was Raging Bull?
You know, I've never seen Raging Bull. I'm going to get the treatment that you get. I've not seen it. I believe that was Al Pacino.
But they were both in Goodfellas, right?
God, it's been since I saw that. I know De Niro was in it. I don't think Al Pacino was in that.
But I know Pacino was Scarface, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to sell a lot of those posters.
Raging Bull is De Niro. Thank you.
When you were in college, did you visit a lot of dorm rooms?
Not really.
So when I was in college,
classes for that matter.
When I was in college, everybody had the Scarface poster just hanging on their wall. That was like the #1 go-to.
You know, I've never seen all of that film, but I got kind of bored during that one. You ever seen Any Given Sunday? That's got Al Pacino.
It's a football. I know it's a football movie.
That's a good flick. Now that was a good one. I enjoyed that one.
He's a coach, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's more of a real gritty look.
Is it like
the NFL.
Remember that show Playmakers that was on ESPN?
I do. I never saw it.
See, I watched that whole run, and that's what I picture it being like, because it was all there were no good stories. Everybody was on drugs or abusive to other people, and like the NFL.
Speaking of people like that, this is a chilling tale since we're talking.
Chilling tales.
You know, today was go into. I had to do 4 services today. All right, 4.
Now explain what a service is.
That's when I go in and look at an intoxilizer, which is a a breathalyzer, and then check it and make sure everything's working okay. We do it once every so often. So I went to this, and today I got to go to 2 police departments and 2 detention centers. The police departments are easy. It's just a police department. There's usually nobody there. The detention centers range from not too bad to hideous.
Right.
And today I had one of each. And the not too bad one was not too bad. The hideous one, I walked in, and when I go to one of these things, there's a call box beside a door, usually the back door. You hit the button, and someone will be like, "Can I help you?" And you're on camera, and you'll be like, you know, blah, 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 I'm here to do this or that. And they'll let you in. They hit a button, and the door goes, meh, and it opens up, and you go in, just like you see on TV. Today I went to this my least favorite detention center. I walked up to the door. I got ready to hit the button, and it goes, meh, the door just opened. Kind of weird. I walked in, walked to the double door, come into the lobby here. It's called booking. This is where guys come in to get all their information taken down. They get their outfit to put on.
Mm-hmm.
They stand up against the wall, picture taken, whole 9 yards.
Today's the first day of the rest of their life.
Right. No one in here. No prisoners, no guards, nothing.
Eerie.
It is. It's dead quiet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, huh. So I creep through there, and then I go out, and this one particular place I go, you just are in it. You're in the prison.
Really?
Usually the talk shows are kind of up front, you know, not here. It's in there. In this one, it's in the library / TV area.
Oh, yeah. I think you've told me about this place before.
So I'm like, and you have to creep around this one cell, and then around the back of it is where you go into the library. So I'm creeping around, not a single person, nothing. I'm like, man, this is bizarre. And I walk up, and as I get to the point where I can see the library door, I look, and beside the library door, in a restraint chair, is the biggest, meanest looking dude I ever saw. This guy was, if you've never seen a restraint chair, they got the arms and legs as you're locked down like
it's the old Hannibal Lecter.
And they've got the gimmick that actually holds your back and your neck like this. And this guy is slumped over like this. I guess he's asleep, you know. Tatted up, skin bald, big, muscular looking. This guy looked intimidating as heck. I'm like, son of a gun. And so I've got to creep past this guy, and it reminds me, it's like when you're creeping past that sleeping dragon or a bear. You know, you're like, beep, beep, beep. It was the creep, and there's still no guards.
So when
nothing.
you're creeping around these places, do you have a toolbox?
Yeah, I've got a bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was creepy as heck. Now finally I got into the library, and finally I saw a guard come wandering after about 5 minutes. I'm like, man, it's quiet in here. He goes, well, heck, we'll fix that. He flipped on the TV to the Today Show. It was cranked about 11. And the second that happened, it was just like, everyone was everywhere. It was like nothing had changed. And that guy was still asleep.
Wow.
It was bizarre. But you don't want to creep around in a detention center.
It's like something out of Tales of the Unexpected.
It was. It was Tales of the Good God Almighty. I hope this guy's restrained real good. You know, it was creepy, man. I don't get creeped out too much in these detention centers. This one was pretty creepy. That's 2 weeks in a row I've come across a big, huge killer chained to the chair. That's not good. The last guy had the spit mask on.
Oh.
You don't want that.
No. Well, actually, you do want that, because without the spit mask, you're getting spit on.
As I walked into this place, I went back and pondered my life choices. I'll be honest with you. Is this really where I need to be? I sure am a big burly guy, but
people probably. Do you think? I mean, you're wearing a full-on police officer uniform on the job, right?
No, I wear khakis and a state police kind of a button-up, you know, shirt with a patch on it. No guns, no billy clubs, no pepper spray.
You ever think about just carrying
taser,
just
nothing.
A little bit of mace with you or something like that?
You can't take that crap into a jail or a prison.
They don't like that.
Because what if a couple of those guys rough me up, and all of a sudden they got their crap?
Yeah.
Then you got problems.
You're right.
I got my bare hands. You know.
They've served you well so far.
Oh yeah, these things are garbage. You kidding me? What are we doing?
I thought that you had to get out of here soon. I was expecting you to come down here and be like, we gotta start because
it was just on my mind.
Luke's in jiu-jitsu, right?
He will be shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be there shortly. I'm ready. Okay. What are we doing here first?
We're doing Amigos.
We're doing Amigos. All right. This one you said we were doing our Sinclair first.
I don't know. I probably lied.
Okay. Now, any special wackiness? Let me get my phone ready.
We don't have a lot of news this week. It's been a slow news week. So, If you've got anything,
I didn't
bring
see
it up.
anything pop up really,
Yeah.
to be completely honest with you. But I've been very, very busy this week. Again, baseball season's coming, so we've had to go out and get pads and let me see what the good old Dreamcatcher never lets me down. Though he's always got something in here.
Hey, everybody in the chat. I have not had a chance to say hello yet. Hey, Pixel, Stefano, Andy, Pete Card, Darren Coles, Free Lunch, Alec Moe, 10-minute Amiga Retrocast, Kate, Duncan Styles, Bossman Harrington.
You ever seen the movie Hysterical? I know you haven't.
No, you assume correctly.
You know, for whatever reason, I can't get
Try
Dreamcatchers.
touching the picture. Does that do anything for you? Try refreshing the page.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because you had the copy-paste dialogue somehow up.
Really?
Double
How was your week?
It was good. It was good. You know, I'm starting Aikido.
Yeah.
Aikido is a much more physical martial art than
Oh,
the
yeah?
Iaido. Yeah. So I've been thrown around more than a little. But it's good. It gives me a better workout than Iaido. But I like Iaido too. So they complement each other well. And did that. And my private students, the students I teach, we have our annual recital on Tuesday. So we had a dress rehearsal with the pianist. Went well. So we got 2 trumpets, a French horn, a trombone, and a guitar. They're going to play.
Man, I swear to you, I don't know. I have never heard of this game either. Did you read this?
It's all, you know, it's funny because we'll never run out of games to play on this show.
That's true.
Sure.
We could do a whole year of just playing the stuff Dreamcatcher comes
This
up
looks
with.
great, actually. Nippon Safes Inc. I love it. Looks awesome.
Have you heard of this?
Nope.
Well, we're going to unleash it on the world.
You ever use this program, Winderstat?
Nope.
It scans your hard drive and gives you, like, these are all the files on the hard drives. It makes it easy to, like, find stuff that's too big and just delete it.
Interesting. Okay. I'm ready, sir.
Okay.
There's no wackaroo here. No wackiness.
Look at that. Pixel says Winderstat is great. He knows what's up. There's no wackiness.
Your feedback.
Feedbag for a horse.
Feedback.
We got
So
we got mailbag, but
you
I'm
just
gonna
do your thing.
Yeah.
By God, I'm just gonna sit here and
It'll be fine.
I'm just gonna be abrasive.
Okay.
I'm Aaron.
You should talk like that constantly.
This week in Amiga news.
Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about Links, the challenge of golf. Aaron, when was the last time you were challenged by golf?
Well, it was just this week, actually. Ironically enough, pretty much I've never played. I haven't played golf, factual, real life golf for many moons.
Mm-hmm.
I did go to the driving range a couple of years ago where I was thoroughly humiliated, and my son, who was 3 at the time, drove the ball further than I did. Horrible. So yeah, as much as I like video golf, I'm not good at the real golf.
Now, where do you stand on the putt-putt?
I love the putt-putt.
Mm-hmm.
I am an ace at the putt-putt.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at that.
I do like a good game of mini golf.
We may have to throw that down sometime. And the kid likes it too, but he likes to cheat. But yeah, I like mini golf. But man, I want to be good at real golf. I buy clubs and everything.
You know, if you ever want to go out and play, I'll go with you. I love going out to the links.
Pricey though, isn't it? Isn't it pricey?
Not if you go up to Meadow Run over there, Old Deer Run. You know, it's $20.
Really?
9 holes.
How much beer do you usually drink in a given front nine? Here?
We usually bring a case, and there's usually none left by the time we're done. So
See,
I play with Bob Carroll, the band director over at Poca High School. And
I would probably just put like a bottle of Jack Daniels in the bag, and every birdie you get 2 shots. Every par 1 shot. Everything else you have to. I guess
you're going to be stone cold sober by the end of
that's the thing.
By the end of the round.
You know me oh so well, Boat.
Well, do you remember the very first golf game that you ever played?
Golly, Ned, it was probably that Atari golf game.
Oh, that's not a great game.
No.
There was no golf on the Coco.
You know, I'm sitting here trying to think. I don't recall any golf on there. There may have been a miniature golf on there, but I don't remember one. I remember the games the predominant games that I used to play a lot of that were golf were World Class Leaderboard, Zany Golf. Although that game is irksome. I mean, it's got its good points, bad points. The PC had like a mini golf game that I like too. You know, but I'd say World Class Leaderboard is probably the one I played the most. You know,
that was the first game that I played. World Class Leaderboard.
First game?
Yeah, actually, was there a leaderboard before?
There was.
Okay, it was probably the regular leaderboard. This was on my dad's 8088 PC.
It's funny that the original leaderboard is sort of the great granddaddy of the game we're playing today.
The same team.
So the lineage continues, and they actually have kept going, which we'll get into that later on. It's kind of interesting.
What was that golf game for the Lynx that was so good?
Ninja Golf?
No, this was it was some sort of a miniature golf game that you reviewed on ARG Presents.
Oh my God, that was that game Brent picked. That was one of the worst games I've ever played, and just a completely broken game. I can't remember the name of it. It was Ace something, Ace Golf or something like that. But yeah, horrible. I don't recommend it. If you want to hear a good laugh, you can go dig that episode of ARG up because that was one of Brent's duds. Brent has a streak he'll go on occasionally. He picks the lowest form of game, and that was one of them.
Well, if you want your mind expanded rather than tarnished by a bad game, you should check out everythingamiga.com because Dreamcatcher has been at it again. What's he been up to, Aaron?
You know, we were just talking before we came on air that we could do a whole year's worth of shows just based on stuff that Dreamcatcher found that I've never heard of. His streak continues unabated, as this week he picks Nippon Safes Incorporated. And with the gimmick on this being you actually you can pick one of several characters.
Did you ever watch Kids Incorporated?
I did. Kids Incorporated.
That's all I can think of.
That's a horrible show.
I loved it. Of course, I was 4,
that show.
So you know.
I hated it. I don't like kids singing. You know,
just puts you off.
It doesn't do it. You know, they had that Kids Rock. You ever seen that stuff?
Like Kids Bop, yeah.
Kids Bop. Like when I had my son and his little buddy over, she goes, listen, she goes, can you put on some music? I'm like, yeah. So I just put on some rock music. No, can we have that Kids Bop?
Can you put on that Kids
Bop? With a
Bop?
shaky hand. I was like, okay. Horrible. So no, I didn't like Kids Incorporated. There were some big stars in there, weren't there?
Yeah. I have no idea who they were.
Wasn't one of the stars, what's her name? Alyssa Milano, wasn't she on that?
I can't remember if she was on that or the new Mickey Mouse Club. That was Britney Spears was on that and all those. Christina Aguilera. Yeah.
I never. The Mickey Mouse Club. The only one I watched was Annette Funicello.
I was going to say you were in your mid-30s when that was on.
That doesn't mean anything. Shut the heck up.
Tell us about Nippon Safes Incorporated.
I know nothing about Nippon Safes Incorporated, but Dreamcatcher does. And if you want, I will say, just looking at it, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it?
It does. This is some sort of a point-and-click adventure game where you're doing various tasks, and you are tasked with walking around various sites in Japan, I guess, and doing things. And boy, this is a really interesting looking game, actually. I dig anything set in Japan.
I was going to say you could retrace your footsteps, man, in a game like this. You're so lucky to have gotten to go to Japan, Bo.
Very lucky.
I remember seeing that video; it was really fun. But yeah, you know, Dreamcatcher always does good stuff, and he always finds the real unusual stuff. So I recommend it. Have a look.
Do you hear that coming down the tracks, Aaron?
I do actually hear it. Oh my God.
That's right.
How bizarre.
The gamble train has arrived. It's passing through Hurricane as we speak.
Where is the nearest? Oh yeah, the railroad track's about a half mile.
Did you just ask where the nearest railroad tracks were?
I was just thinking, is there one closer? But there's not. It's at least a half mile.
Yeah, you can hear, no matter where you are in Hurricane, you can hear. You can hear.
It's a train town, isn't it?
It is.
We used to have a train station and everything. You know, a steam engine blew up right in the middle of downtown Hurricane.
Really?
Yeah, on the tracks.
I did not know that.
Yeah, little known fact.
Well, this week, it's been a slow news week. The gamble train has been running slow. It's more of a leisurely journey of the gamble train this week.
Sightseeing tour.
Yeah. This is on its way to Cass Scenic Railroad. The Amiga, gamble train drops off this story.
Ooh.
There is an unreleased Amiga game that has just came to light. This comes to us from our buddy Neil over at Indie Renter News, who has been off for some illness-related things, but I guess is feeling better. So we're glad that he's back and in good health and posting again. This is World Warrior, and this is it looks like a one-on-one fighter. Now, if you recall, Aaron, the subtitle to Street Fighter II, I believe, is the World Warrior, right?
Yeah, I'm quite interested in seeing what this looks like.
So this is a Saberman playthrough, and as you can see, it looks like an unfinished
when you beat your
game.
twin, is what you get.
This kind of reminds me. Do you remember the first Double Dragon game? You could kind of face off in a fight mode that's sort of like this, yeah. But
these guys look pretty good though.
Yeah,
and you can tell it's not quite there with the screen flashes and whatnot, but the background looks nice. It looks pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, you got two guys. So is this going to get a release mode or?
Well, you know, that's it says that the developer says that this game was basically created because he felt unlike the awesome arcade and console versions, the Street Fighter II Amiga port was a total train wreck. We can agree with that, right?
He's really thinking outside the box on that one.
And so I guess that he wanted to create this to make something better, but it looks like that they're not going to finish it, as far as we know. So.
Still kind of neat. It looks pretty good.
Yeah,
looks pretty good.
So, and unfortunately, that brings us to the end of the Amiga news for this week. That is our one and only story.
Wow. It's going to be the shortest news
I combed the internet, and aside from updates to the various bootlocker programs and other high-tech utilities that we don't know anything about, there was not much going on in the Amiga scene this week. So, hopeful that next week we'll be back with the nonstop Amiga news action.
As spring rolls in, we really normally the news starts winding down for the summer, but so we will see what happens. I looked around to see if there's any kind of action going on, and also to look in to see what the latest on the whole controversial Cloanto Hyperion thing was. Really, not much movement. People are still mad, and that's about the long and short of it.
Yeah. Well. I guess there's nothing more to do than talk about this week's game, Aaron.
We got a 5-minute pummel boat break.
Let's talk about Lynx, baby.
Baby. Now, I guess before we get into this, had you played Lynx before?
Never.
Really? But you'd heard of it?
I'd heard of it.
Okay.
People always speak fondly of it when they talk about their favorite Amiga golf games.
I am surprised that you had not played this boat. So, Lynx, the Challenge of Golf, which is, I like the title. You know, it's
very regal.
Yeah. This debuted in 1992 and was stuck out there by Access. Now, we mentioned Access earlier. They did leaderboard and world-class leaderboard golf. They were the golf guys. Now, they did a couple games here, and I want to talk about one in particular. They also did Crime Wave.
Is this like Crime Fighters, your old arcade machine?
Crime Wave is this notoriously cheesy game that they use the real sound technology in it, and it's really one you have to kind of go look at yourself. But I remember the opening screen of it was real exciting, and then the game was horrible. So, but I think some people like it, but not me. I can tell you that. So, this is one of the few games you could have 8 players, both, and which is that's a goodly sum.
Yeah.
This runs on the ECS OCS, and what you've got here is your sort of like the upgraded version of World Class Leaderboard. Really, they didn't reinvent. I guess they sort of painted the wheel. They put better treads on the wheel. Well, it's basically the same wheel.
You're not going to reinvent the game of golf,
right? But I mean, we both love World Class Leaderboard, right? So everyone loved it. It was literally the golf game that set the standard for how golf games would go, and to a certain degree, still are, right? World Class Leaderboard said, "Hey, we've got the bones of a good game here. Now we need to doll this thing up," and doll they did. So this thing came out on a few different systems. I actually got to play a couple of these this week to kind of get a feel for what it was like. Because I will say, I hadn't played the Amiga version of Lynx for a long time, and I was way more familiar with the DOS version. And so I will say there is one startling difference between the two. Of course, this was again released on the DOS, and this I didn't know this, but this also had a Sega CD release. Bo, did you know that?
Might have to check that out.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Now I think the Amiga version, in fact, for everything I read, the Amiga version of this was based on the PC version. So this came over.
Yeah, it was ported from the PC version.
And here we are in '92, because there was a time where that would never happen, but here we are. It's starting to the VGA graphics and stuff. They're starting to port this stuff over. So, what makes this game different than World Class Leaderboard? The graphics. The graphics in this thing are great. They use on the Amiga. They use basically ham graphics, hold and modify graphics.
Now, I am not a tech guy. Can you explain what that means?
I can't.
Okay.
I can't explain. I know ham graphics were a graphics. They were a graphics format on the Amiga that was a nice, high quality graphic. I can't tell you. I know it stands for hold and modify. I can't give you any particular.
Perfect.
What this does is when you start the game, of course, it's based. The bare bones part of this is pretty at the beginning. You can pick a guy. You can pick a course. Now, I heard you say that your copy of this had multiple courses.
Mine had multiple courses. Now, could it have been, when they put the WHD version together, could they have just included the other courses on the, as part of the package?
Well, they
Maybe
did
that
release
happened?
expansions. I'm just saying, and if it's there, it's there.
Right.
I didn't. The version I had was just the original course. So you can pick your course. You can make a custom guy. When you make a custom guy, it's not that awesome. You don't get to do anything special. You sort of get to pick the color of your what is that thing? Your tees or
your
whatever.
Tees. Wait, well,
do you know the little things that are near you?
Do you know what that means?
I don't know what those are. To be honest with you.
On a golf course, the color of the tees mean how far back they are from the hole.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, the special those different colors meant that.
Yeah.
In this? Okay.
So you're going to be the certain color tees, and it's different with every golf course. But like the white tees are usually the farthest back. They're the pro tees.
Interesting.
And yeah,
I knew there was different tees at different levels, but I didn't know there was a standardized color for it. So you get to pick that, and you can get to go through and pick clubs. Now I don't know if you did this. Did you custom make a boat guy?
I just put it in a name. I didn't mess around with the club selection, although I thought it was cool that you can choose, like there are multiple, even within the set of like driver, there's multiple drivers and stuff like that.
Like you could have normally I'm used to like a 3-wood and a 1-wood or whatever, and you've got your irons. And blah, blah, blah. This one, you could have like some oddballs.
You could have a lofting wedge.
Yeah.
And you can even go in and you can set your player's tendencies. So say you hit a fade in real life. You can set your player to hit the same way you do. And the idea from reading the manual is that they wanted this to be a true golf simulation where you could actually use this to improve your real life game.
Yeah, and you can even you can sort of adjust where you hold the club out.
Oh yeah.
Tons
of options.
Yeah, I was surprised about some of that stuff. But when you make your guy, you name him, you pick your color, you pick your clubs. That's pretty much the extent of the customization of that. There's not much else there. You don't get to pick what your guy looks like, for example. These are things that would come later, but they weren't in this. They didn't have them at this point. You also have the option of practicing. Did you try practicing?
I never practiced.
I practiced just to see what it was. So you've got the choice of basically chipping and putting, or like a driving range. All right, and you could drive towards pins, and it would tell you how close you got. It was nothing. It was exactly what you thought it would be. They just took a little chunk of the game, and then that's your thing, and you can just do it over and over. So that was pretty much that. Then you can get to the point where you actually can go in and play the game. So the first thing you do is enter the guys who you want to be in the game. You can add as many as you want. I just play with one, and it will give you a an option of picking a course. I only had the one course. You had a couple. So I picked the main course. And it would load up. It would tell you, it would have a nice full color picture of the course with, with like a paragraph talking about the course, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
And then it would give you an overhead map, a hand-drawn map of the course, which was a pretty rough. I mean, you look at it, it's almost overwhelming because it's got all the holes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like an aerial map.
Yeah, it's what you'd see if you got a scorecard playing real golf.
That's right. And then at that point, finally, it's time to play the game. Now, what's the first thing you noticed about this when you started it up? It's golf time. What happens? You're ready to play golf. What happens?
I'm not sure what.
I'll tell you what happens. It says drawing course.
Oh, okay.
Then it says, it says like drawing extras. Blah, blah. And so basically, you're sitting there looking at basically nothing for however long it takes to load that.
I'd say it's
hole.
Probably 5 to 10 seconds, and this is.
I'd say it's longer than that, in my opinion. I'd say it was at least 10, bare minimum. And then a lot of it depends on what you're playing. So now I played this on 3 different things. Of course, I tried the PC version with an emulator. I also played the Amiga version on my 1200, and then I played an emulated Amiga with my Raspberry Pi that was simulating a 500. So I tried 3 different things. And guess what? The 1200 loaded quicker. I'd say the PC was somewhere in the middle. Now, the first thing that struck me, because I remember this from playing it back in the day, is that on the PC version, it doesn't say like building this, drawing that. It just actually draws it, and it does it in kind of like layers.
Right.
It's really funky, isn't it, Bo? You've seen this before?
Yeah, I've seen it both on the leaderboard that I played on the real old PC, but also when I was playing some golf games on the Mac Plus.
Yeah.
It was the same. You draw the back layer first, and it kind of builds the scenery towards you.
And then it'll put like all the skeleton, then it'll put like a different color, and then eventually
it's kind of neat. It gives you something. It gives you something to look at.
Something to do.
Right.
The Amiga version, it just says drawing this, drawing that, blah 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 blah. Nothing to look at, and then bam, it's pretty much there. Now, do you have a preference? Did you prefer the? I think I prefer the seeing it, but I don't think it really mattered. It was pretty similar time-wise.
Yeah, I prefer seeing everything draw in just because it's better than looking at a screen full of text.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So once this draws up, you're presented with whatever hole you started on, and it's beautiful. It's really if you consider '92, this was like shooting the moon in terms of graphics. It looks great. It looks realistic. They've got those real sound. Of course, on the Amiga, you've got real sound, but it's exactly like the PC. You'll hear a bird, and you'll hear maybe a frog, and then when you hit the ball, you hear the club.
Yep.
It sounds like it should. And then depending on what you do, your golfer will make a comment, and including some of the comments you would come to love from World Class Leaderboard, including I think I hit the tree, Jim, and this one he talks to Jim as opposed to but or like get there or get down or that looks good or oh crap I'm in the bunker, whatever. So there are he does multiple little phrases. One thing I noticed is that you can turn all that off. You can turn off all the ambient sound. You can turn off all the sayings. And which if I'll leave them on. They're not. I didn't think they got that old. Did you?
No.
So once you get to the point where it's time to hit, you've got the usual leaderboard options, right? Why don't you talk about how that works, Bo, in terms of hitting the golf ball?
So you can select this game again. I've never played a golf game with this many options. You can select your club, which is not uncommon. You can select your stance. You can select which foot is, where. You can select your angle to the ball. You can select what position you take on the course. And once you've done all of those things, then you can swing. And the way that the swing meter works in this game is that you click the thing and the
swing button.
The swing button on the screen. The red bar goes up. You click it. And then when it comes back down, you click it again. It's a departure from the vertical swing meter on leaderboard golf. They decided to go with, and I guess it makes sense because the arc of the swing is a circular motion. So,
what I like about it is The first thing you do, the first thing I always do whenever I get to a shot is take and set the shot up with my little, there's when you move the mouse onto the actual physical screen, there's a little like marker that you can move around that sets your shot.
Yeah.
It also tells you how far you are from wherever that marker's at.
Yeah. Now it doesn't actually set your shot.
No, it doesn't set your shot, but it sets your aim for that shot.
Right.
It doesn't say like you're still in your own now. There are like 3 levels of play in this. You've got your beginner, your amateur, and your pro. Okay. I started on amateur, but eventually I went down to beginner, and there was one big reason why. And the big reason is distance. I can't ever remember how far clubs go, and so if you're playing beginner, it will basically it will set the club up for you that will best suit the shot you've got. Now, that doesn't mean it's always right. I noticed that it would grossly underpower occasionally. Did you have? I don't know.
I never played on beginner because the manual specifically says this mode is for children.
Well, hey, why gaga goo goo? And now eventually I printed the manual as you see it right here in front of me.
And also the manual has the distances for all the clubs.
Right.
There.
So if you've got that, you're okay. But since I am basically a child, I played on the lowest level a lot.
Yeah, I stuck to amateur.
Well, I'm okay. You're a golfer, Boat. I need help. So. The little heads-up display that you've got has a ton of info on it. You've got wind direction, and you've got how hard the wind's blowing, and you've got all this other stuff in there, distance from the pin, blah 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 blah. So it gives you, like Boat said, it's full of awesome stuff. It also enables you to have an overhead look at the hole. It's in that hand-drawn, just like the overhead mega map. This is just singularly the whole. You can also shift your viewpoint. Now, doing this requires you to redraw the screen, and so if you want to do that, there's a little arrows that go. But did you ever do that, by the way?
No.
Yeah, you could rotate in place, which is
cool.
Oh
yeah,
but then you have to redraw the screen.
Oh, I did that all the time.
Yeah,
because that's the only way you can set your shots.
Yeah,
up.
you have to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to set to that thing loading up again. But there's nothing you can do about it. You can, like I said, there's also you can set your abilities to how you're going to have your club set up, and you can also set you can change shots for like your for doing punch shots or whatever if you're when you're chipping.
Yeah, there are several different ways you can hit each club.
Yeah.
Especially when you, like you said, with the pitching wedge, you can adjust distances with the putter and stuff like that.
You've also got your options on this screen, and which I'll get to options in a minute because there's some options that are key and options. So anyway, like Boat said, you hit the swing button, you hold it to a certain point. You can also overswing, and you hit the ball. And then once you hit the ball, you've got the option to have a replay come up. You can have a replay from your perspective, or you can have the replay from the reverse perspective. Now, I liked PGA Golf Tour because it would give you that reverse perspective shot replay automatic, basically during the shot, which was awesome, right?
It's like watching TV.
That's right. And you want that because you can say, okay, here's where the ball lies.
Right.
This game provides the exact same shot with the caveat that you've got to render the shot, which means you've got to stop. You've got to wait till the thing loads all the stuff back up, and then it happens. If you want to see it again, you got to do it again.
Right.
So that's kind of, but I mean, it's there. Did you use the replay that much?
Not very much because of that very reason.
Yeah, it's because we're impatient jerk types.
Yes.
All right, so once you have your shot, aside from the replay stuff, it will give you a box pops up that gives you statistics about what happened, how far you hit it, how far you are from the pin, how long it stayed in the air. All right. It also gives you a little helpful hand if you want it, and that's the mulligan option. The mulligan option I used so much that I had to go and turn it off because I couldn't help myself, which we'll get to that in a minute. But the mulligan option lets you just basically take the shot over. Okay, now, when you do that on your scorecard, after you finish a hole, your scorecard pops up with whatever hole you're on, just like a normal scorecard, and how many shots it took you and how far under or over par you are. It also keeps track of how many times you do a mulligan. And so you're not off the hook for if you're like, look at this great score, Boat, and it's like 27 mulligans.
Right.
Boat knows that I was just sitting there, ham and egging it. Also, once you get to the green, okay, and then this is standard golf stuff. You hit down the fairway. You try to stay in. You can go off. I did not have personally the same encounters in this that I did in World Class Leaderboard with the trees being like the ball being right directly behind it. I know it could happen, but it didn't seem as bad to me. Did you?
Yeah, I never really. I know exactly what you're talking about. That didn't happen to me either.
Because when you in World Class Leaderboard, you could get to the point where the ball was like, in a grove.
Yeah.
And you're boned.
Well, you basically,
you got to pitch out of
right.
there, and you're boned.
Yeah.
So this game, I think they eased off on that a little bit, and it could have been because they still want to render a bunch of trees. You never know. So eventually, you will chip your way or drive your way onto the green. All right, then it's putting time, gang. Now, what did you think of the putting system in this, and what did you think of the overall? Did it feel good to you? A fair system in the putting?
You know,
green?
I've played a lot of golf games. I've played more golf games than any other sport game. Yeah. I mean, just personally, I've played more golf games. This is probably the worst. It's probably the worst putting system I've ever come across.
And tell us why you don't like it.
Because there's no gauge to you have your max distance on the putter, and you can trigger a green coming down, but you have no other kind of feelers on how to kind of manipulate your shot to go where you need to go. It's so bad that it makes. When I go into my critiques of the game, there are a couple things that just made this game a total non-starter for me, but the putting was the final nail in the coffin.
The game does have a grid that can come up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I will say is once I turned on the grid for a shot, I couldn't find a way to turn it off. I guess it stays on until you take your shot. Putting in this is difficult. I mean, it is all feel. All right, and really chipping's not easy either, or you know what I'm saying?
Right, but with chipping, it's a less exact art than
but
putting.
I mean, I thought chipping was also difficult. In fact, again, I thought chipping was harder than World Class as well. Putting, I thought is extremely hard. For me, the greens. The one thing about World Class Leaderboard is the greens. The contours seemed easier to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a similar situation with you?
Yeah.
Now, I went through and played. I only had the 18 holes. I went through and played 10 games this week, probably 10 rounds. And putting was always the mulligan time because I would get so mad.
Right, and it's almost like they anticipate this because in the docs they're like, if you get close, just select the gimme option.
Yes.
I've never seen a golf game, first of all, with a gimme option, and two, where they actually suggest that you just take a gimme.
I will say, I remembered the gimme option. I remembered a game had it, and when I first got close to a hole to see it, I was like, bam, I knew it, the gimme option. And I took it every time, I might add, because then you get to that point where you're like, ting, ting, trying to take that in a hole. You can easily overhit in putting.
Yeah.
And when you overhit, it's gone.
It's gone.
You know, and it's a gutting feeling to see that ball drive will go away.
Yeah.
So putting is the low point, I would say, in terms of the game. I thought driving was, I liked most everything else in terms of what I did, but putting was tough. And I don't think the feel was there. And I don't like the meter. I don't like the way the meter is presented. It's really tough to guess.
You really need a different kind of meter when you're putting.
And something else, and I'm going to go on record, and you can tell me if this is the problem you had, is if I hit the ball at half on the putt and it sailed past, if I went like 2 pixels under it, I would underhit.
Right.
It was, I mean, it's unbelievably delicate.
Yeah.
You know?
You're exactly right.
Yeah. So once you sink the ball, you'll go to your scorecard. It will tell you what you've shot, rinse and repeat. That's the game. The game features a lot of cool digitized stuff that you would see on a golf course, ball cleaners and golf carts and clubhouses and poles and benches, you know, stuff like that you would see. The graphics on this, like I said, are off the charts. They really are. And that was the big appeal. Now, here's the $10,000 question, Bo, and then you can go and just roll right into what you didn't like. Do you like this more than World Class Leaderboard? I mean, obviously it's prettier, but did you enjoy? Does it play a better round of golf?
No.
Okay. Carry forth. Go ahead with your gripes.
So first of all, I'll tell you about what I like. The game is gorgeous. It's definitely the best looking golf game on the Amiga, bar none.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It is it has the most options of any golf game on any platform I've ever played. I'm sure that there are golf games, like if you play some of the modern Tiger Woods golfs and things like that, there probably are options as deep as this, but nothing like this on a 16-bit or 18-bit platform for sure. Apart from that, I really didn't enjoy anything about this game. I thought that the swing meter was bad. They had a good thing going with leaderboard. They shouldn't have screwed it up. Number two, they printed the club distances in the manual. Okay, we're getting into the 90s here. You can put those distances in the game. You can put the max distance of the club right beside the club to give the player some chance to know, how far this goes without having to glance over at the book.
It is funny, they've got all that information out there, and then the club distance, it can even recommend a club. And that was, I know you were making fun of me for playing the dork low-end version, but you got to, it could tell. Normally, if you're playing golf, you probably know what the clubs would do.
Right.
It would help to help dummy to put that stuff.
Well, if you're really trying to play this game well, you want to use all the information available to you.
Right.
And the swing meter, I don't have any problem with a circle swing meter, but you need to make the circle bigger, and you need to because otherwise, like you said, it just becomes a pixel hunt where it's going up so fast and you can't really tell where you are on that meter. It's really poor. It's really poor. Putting was an abomination. There's no fun to be had putting. I don't even know how you'd ever get good at it. Like you said, it's all feel. It's like, well, this feels okay, and sometimes it was, and sometimes it wouldn't be.
Yeah, it is all feel.
Like I said, it was such a huge step back from leaderboard where you really felt like you had some control. Plus, they changed the meter in leaderboard to give you just a really long bar that takes up the whole side of the screen, and you press down the space bar until you get to where you want to go, then you let it go.
Yeah.
But I could forgive all of that stuff if it wasn't for the infuriatingly slow, long span of time between each and every shot. Just waiting for the course to be drawn, waiting for everything to come up, taking the shot and then wait again. And, heaven forbid that you want to change where you're standing because you've got to wait again for that course. And this is one of those things where I read all these reviews on Lemon that were like, yeah, this is the thing that made me buy that bigger CPU so I can speed up the time. I was playing this emulated on a maxed out Amiga, and I was still waiting forever, so I couldn't even imagine what this would be like on a 500. It must have just been such an excruciating experience. I always try and play these games through the lens of somebody that, what else was around on the platform at this time. And so I'm not going to compare this to what you and I both believe the Cadillac of golf games is, the Turf Masters, Neo Turf Masters.
Yes.
You can't compare the two games. But, they could have taken hints from similar games that were around on computers at the time. Like, for example, why do I need to go to another menu to see an overall or a top-down view of the course?
And it takes a while for that to load, too. Yeah.
Why not put that in the upper left corner? Do an inset, do a picture-in-picture thing. There's something to be said for having the full expanse view, but make it an option. Say push I to see a map of the course, and have it pop up or pop out. Really, even when you go to that overhead map, sometimes it's still hard to see exactly where you're pointing.
It's like looking at an overhead map of a state.
Yeah.
You're looking at it, it's like, well, I know where Sacramento, California is, and I'm in San Diego, but can I drive there? I don't know.
Exactly. So, this game, just like so many other Amiga games, it wins an A+ for graphics, and it wins kind of a C for gameplay.
I think I liked it more than you, but everything you said, I sort of have to agree with them in a lot of ways. One thing that we haven't touched on is, and both just touched on, the fact that you have to wait a long time to load. You can actually tinker with some things. I couldn't. Long story short, no option I set seemed to let the thing load quicker.
Right. I tried. That was the first thing I was like, man, I'm going to set everything to minimum. I don't care. Didn't help.
Now I will say, I did play this on the PC. I was emulating I think it was like a 386 DOS box, and the load times are comparable. Honestly, and so here's what I'm going to say about that. I'm going to give that a pass in 2019, given the quality of what was being rendered. I think this thing was batting a little bit out of its league here. They were trying to give you a futuristic golf game but it wasn't the future yet. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you, graphically, this game looks just as good as the Golden Tee arcade machine I had.
It looks pretty close, yeah. And if you think about, of course, we both like Neo Turf Masters, but I mean, Neo Turf Masters, it's a much ridiculously simpler version of this, but it's the same exact gimmick.
Right.
It's the exact. They just took this exact golfing dynamic of the swing and what did they do that's different? They may obviously it loads quicker, but what they did was give you a better gauge, and make it more intuitive, because there's no overhead view or anything like that.
Oh, here's just another quick thing I just thought of. Even between shots, they make you hit continue, on your little stat panel. It's just all these little things slow down the game.
That's there. I think that's there to let you. There's options and stuff on there. I can see where they did it.
Yeah,
it does slow down the game.
It's just one more thing.
This is a game that it's just one of those leisure games. Now, one of the reasons I played this so much this week is because it's a nice, quiet game where you kick back. And if you're not in a hurry, you can sit down and play a round of this, and it runs okay. Now, on the 1200, it came up okay. But it was still, there's no getting around it. It's slow. They knew that when they made it. This game had hard drive installation support, If you think about a game like this running on your Amiga 1000, for example, it's actually quite remarkable,
that you
were going to get this kind of action coming over from the 256 color graphics on the VGA. One thing we should mention, that the course that comes with it's Torrey Pines. Now, I know you don't watch any pro golf, do you?
Oh, I watch golf all the time.
Oh, do you? So are you familiar with that particular course?
Torrey Pines is in New York, isn't it?
No, it's ironically, this is what made me think about it.
Or is it in DC?
San Diego.
It's in San Diego?
So you can
I have
visit
no idea.
You can play golf here if you want to, because you're going to San Diego.
I'm going to San Diego, yeah.
Make sure you go out there and get some pictures of you slowly hitting the ball. That was pretty cool. And the course is written. Now, I did look at some of the other courses that were available. I think there's at least one other course how many courses did you have?
I had 3. There was Bountiful, there was Firestone, and Torrey Pines.
Now I looked at a few of these on the PC version, and they looked pretty good. They were different. And there's even the PC version has this whimsical, wacky world game.
I like that.
Yeah,
give me whimsical, wacky world any day.
It's kind of neat. So, while we're talking about links, let's talk a little bit about the people that made it Access. Now, you wouldn't believe how many Lynx games were released. I looked at this list here, and it literally blew my mind.
They wrung the towel dry on this.
They did. Now, Access Software was purchased by Microsoft Game Studios. Did you know that?
No.
They acquired them because...
Oh, you know what? Actually, that does kind of ring a bell, because I remember seeing Lynx marketed. I think there were certain packages you could buy of Windows that included Lynx.
Yeah, Lynx ran from 90, when the original came out, to 2003. And the Xbox, and I'm going to try this. There's an Xbox version of Lynx 2004, which it was released in 2003. The funny thing is, it's not that funny, but Microsoft bought them, used them, and eventually changed the name, and then they were gone. Now, get this. Many members of the development team work for True Golf, a golf simulator company based out of Centerville, Utah. Now, True Golf, I believe they make those big screen where you can actually pick up a club and drive into the screen. I think those guys are in the...
Have you done that before?
I've seen them. I've never...
it's very cool. I've done it before,
you've done it?
I've played all kinds of different golf wackiness.
So, this game actually won some awards. It was very popular. And this game, and Lynx 386, the PC version, the sequel to this, was regarded as one of the games that moved to PCs, like the purchase of them in a big way, because people were trying to upgrade their systems.
I was going to say, it was actually called Lynx 386, wasn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely was. But they were looking for people to upgrade their systems, to make this load quicker, which you can understand that, given the situation. So, I'm going to sit though with you on this one, for the most part. I'm not as harsh on it as you. I think it still plays a pretty decent game of golf, but you've got to be willing to put up with the loads, obviously, and the putting is a real trial. And,
Yeah.
and so don't turn that mulligan button off. It's my advice.
I wouldn't have been so hard on it if this wasn't the same team that made leaderboard.
Well,
you know, anytime you take a step backwards in terms of playability, it's a bad move.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So this game won awards, Action Game of the Year '91, which is pretty good. It got pretty good reviews, if I may. The Lemon Folk gave it a 7.79. If you were given a 1 to 10 vote, I know we don't do reviews, but where would you put this as high as 7.79?
I do a review every week.
Would you put this in the same ballpark as 7.79? Don't get combative.
I'd be a low 7.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're sort of in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
The Amiga magazine cruise, the Amiga actually gave it an 81. Then they went back and revised that to a 77, as they're wont to do.
Mm-hmm.
Amiga Computing, Christmas of '93, gave this a 40%.
Holy cow!
They don't have any patience over at Amiga Computing.
Plus, that's a 93.
Amiga Force, which I feel like we should have like superhero outfits, and we could be the Amiga Force.
Yeah, I feel like you're the Amiga Force all by yourself.
Just me?
Yeah, I'm like.
You could be like the Professor X.
Right.
You know, and I'll be the blind guy that he mocks. Amiga Force gave this a 75. Amiga Format gave it a 92. Amiga Power, 70%. And the one, February '94, they weren't having it. 23 big percent. So this thing's all over the map in terms of score.
Well, let me tell you some of the thoughts of our Amigos Retro Gaming Discord community members. Chris Folds says, has the potential to be the second best golf game on the platform. PGA is better. Great graphics and detail, and a detail freak's dream of stats and figures. However, unless you have a Super Amiga, which let's face it, most people didn't back when the game came out, it is unplayably slow. So I will give it 2 scores. 3 out of 10 on a stock Amiga, 7 out of 10 on a Turbo Amiga on FSUAE. Yeah. Graham Vebke tunes in from Australia and says, quite possibly the best golfing game on the Amiga. Even on OCS, the presentation is impressive with only the Torrey Pines South course. The game does suffer from frame rate issues on the A500, but that doesn't detract from the golfing experience, which is very good with the controls, and there are 2 or more courses available to add on. 8 out of 10. So Graham liked it.
He's a patient man.
Leif Killand really liked it. Our boy in Norway. He says, easily the best golf game on the Amiga, and only substantially improved upon with the release of the criminally underrated Front Page Sports Golf by Sierra in 1997. We'll have to check that one out.
Was that on the Amiga, 97?
I don't know. He doesn't say.
Really?
He says it demonstrates what OCS is truly capable of with its use of ham mode in-game, and while obviously dated today, it really was the crisis of its day. Performs admirably on the Amiga, but benefits greatly from a fast CPU, 9 out of 10. And finally, Pixels at Dawn from Merry Old England. He says, a competent golf game with tons of technical detail, excellent ball physics, and some of the best graphics in the genre on the Amiga. Unfortunately, the redraw speed, even on the 1200, is comparable to leaderboard on the Spectrum, which sucks the life out of the game. It criminally only ships with 1 course, and it just doesn't have the personality of PGA Tour golf. 6 out of 10.
Now, while we're on the subject, before we move on, what do you prefer? You liked PGA. You like it better? I'm assuming you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a faster moving game.
PGA, it's easier to stay awake. You know. But again, this game, it's one of those games that suffers just by the sheer age of it and what they were trying to accomplish. Because I do remember when this came out, like you said, it was a crisis of the day. It was quite a wonder. It was quite a wonder back in those days.
What's this going for on eBay these days, Aaron?
You know, not much. There were no boxes in the States. I was surprised by that. In the UK, $8 or $9 will get you a box copy, easy money. So, not too bad. But you know, sports games generally don't hold their value very well.
There's only a few exceptions. Well, Aaron, it's time for mailbag.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I didn't know we had mail.
Yeah. So this comes in to Amigo Studios.
All right.
From Montreal.
Oh.
Ha ha ha.
Do they like that?
They love it. They love it when you mock their accent.
What if they do? They say, you're like, hey, look, let's go watch some Amigos. You think, what would you say if you heard that? They probably would be appalled by that.
That's true. Although I hear that every time I listen to myself speak. So.
I know.
So Laurent has sent us 8-Bit Magazine. If ever there was a magazine that I would want,
Have
it
we
is
ever
8-Bit
heard, have
Magazine.
you heard of this?
This is issue 6. I've not heard of this. It comes in a very nice size too.
Digest version.
Yeah, digest version. This has got a huge picture of the Spectrum on the cover and Leisure Suit Larry. So you can't go wrong with that combo. You know, I cheated and I looked a little bit through this before you got here. There are some awesome tips on repairing various platforms.
You
full
need that.
color, yeah.
Is there anything on the Spectrum in there?
Yeah, there is. There
you go.
There's a full color. This is a full color
Wow,
rag.
that is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not got the glossy paper, but you know, like I said, in a digest version, sometimes you just want something that you can put in a pocket or, you know, a little bag easily, and just it's chock full of reviews. I can't wait to read the thing on the BBC Micro. This is published by, maybe it's just published by the 8-Bit team. So this is, you can go to 8bitmagazine.com for more information. Oh, John Kavanaugh is the editor of this. He was the founder, no, that was Chris Kavanaugh, was the founder of Classic Gamer magazine, which was another zine from back in the day. But yeah,
Life size.
Yeah, this is I can't wait to read this thing cover to cover. Thank you so much, Laurent.
Actually, it's funny, I've never heard of that one. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that magazine. Now, where is this out of? But let me have a look at that.
Okay.
Is this out of Canada or is this out of Europe?
My guess is that this comes from England somewhere because of just the well, let's look at that, like that ad on the back. Is that, I don't know, that's some kind of that doesn't tell us much.
You're
of
probably
anything.
right. It probably does come out of the U. Everything comes out of there. They're
Yeah.
going crazy over there. It's oh, here we go. Ireland. Contact details, Ireland.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Look at that. You were right down the street from where they printed this bad
Probably
boy.
so. I'm surprised they didn't have any of these. Maybe they had some at Amiga Ireland and I just missed them. So
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Laurent. Thank you.
Laurent took care of us on that one. That'll be fun to read.
Aaron, it's been a whole month and we have not gotten any iTunes reviews.
Man.
You know, there's no greater ballywick that I have, and I'm sure I'm using that word correctly, than the lack of iTunes reviews.
It really, you take it as a personal affront.
It's a bugaboo as well.
Wow.
So guys, if you haven't yet, please leave us an iTunes review. It would really help us out. You know, people find us because of the number of reviews that we have on podcast platforms. And if you listen to us on another platform that has reviews, leave us a review there. We'd love to have it. And write us to let us know, because it's not, I get like a little email that tells me when we get new iTunes reviews, but I don't know of a service like if Spotify has reviews or stuff. Drop me a line at john@amigospodcast.com and let me know if you've written us a review. You know, that's the number1 way that we get discovered out there.
Plus, if we don't get an iTunes review in a month, Boat beats me.
That's true. That's true. With that huge Power Mac G4 that's right beside you. Last week, Aaron, the Patreon song challenge.
Yes.
So,
oh, Lord.
as you know, if this is your first Amigos episode, every week I sing the names of our Patreon supporters. Last week, the song was "My Heart Will Go On" from the film Titanic.
Yeah, you were quite the character last week. You know, sadly, by the way, I own the soundtrack to that.
Do you really?
I saw the film in the theater and went home and bought the soundtrack.
Wow.
And I hate it. It's a horrible soundtrack. I don't know what I was thinking.
One of these days, I'll watch Titanic. I've heard it's very good.
You got plenty more on your plate before you get to Titanic.
We had tons. This is the all-time most guest title. Tapes from the Crypt got it right. Pixels at Dawn, Jost 80, Gary Hucker, Ricky DeRocher, Terry Howard, Edvin Helland, Barkbit, Caro Launonen.
What? Boy, if ever because of Patreon, you're in trouble.
That's true.
That'll shut down the whole song.
Jason Warnes, and even some people wrote in with little messages on their guests. Pack Billy, he says, I have to say there's not much in this world that I dislike more than her version of this song. I'd exponentially rather listen to you sing the credits than to hear her version.
You ready to go work Vegas like she did for all those years?
Oh, I'd love to work Vegas.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, I don't see that happening.
Matthew Perron says, since Celine is from Quebec, I just called her and made her listen to the episode, and she'll be in touch real soon for a duo with you.
No, her lawyers are calling.
So, if you know this week's song, then you can send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com with your guess, and if it's correct, then you will be included among the elite winners on next week's show.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Lobsterminator Craig McClellan, 10-minute Amiga, Retro Cast Counting Virtual Sheep, Bernard Quinn, Retro Man Cave, Tim Drew, Daniel William, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Letter, Rob O'Hara, Howard Nibbs, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig, Sean So, Darren Lowe, Max Collin 419 Bark Bid, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie. Second verse, same as the first. John Cooked and Ross Leaf, Kellon, Alan Kebab, Chicote Levelord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Dead Boy, Figgy, CTZ, The Slow North, Stefan Sorgard Mortensen, Evan Helen, Belinda 75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Folds, Dreamcatcher, Lauren Giroux, Graham Webkey, Brent Dowdy, Lane Denson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Hucker, C. Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles, Alan Kebab, Anthony Jarvis Tapes from the Crib, Josh Dan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rulo, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim, Tommy Humberstad, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warren's Pixels at Don, Kjolbjorn Barman.
Yeah, I knew that one.
I knew you knew it. This one I have a feeling is going to be one of those ones that I knew you'd know, but I don't know how many of them out there in listening land will know it.
They know.
So
another classic butchered.
Aaron, next week we're going to shift gears completely. We're going to turn away from the golf course. We'll pull away from the country club, and we're going back in time, back to prehistoric man, Aaron. Next week we're going to be doing Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck.
All right. This one I know. Finally, we're back in.
I just want to take a second to thank all of you fine folks who are watching us live on YouTube right now. Pixels at Dawn, Duncan Styles, Andy Davis, Edvin Helen, Retro Man Cave. Let's see who else is here. Ravi Abbott, Neville Overman, Stefano Pavone, Tragard 1982. Everybody out there that's tuned in that makes us part of your, you schedule time to watch us live. Thank you so much. That means a lot to us. I love looking over there and seeing the chat popping off.
It's kind of bizarre, really.
Yeah. We normally tape the show every Friday at 5:30. Today we're taping a little early on Thursday because I'm going out of town this weekend. But we will be back with a vengeance next week with another episode of Amigos. And until then, everybody keep playing the Amiga. We'll see you next time. Adios. All right, so our Sinclair coming up next. You know, we didn't plug any of the other shows this week.
No.
On the
You skipped over all that stuff. You're like, we didn't do any videos.
Yeah.
You were in a hurry today.
Well, I don't know if I was in a hurry, if I was thrown off by the lack of news.
Man, every time you get up out of that chair, it's like somebody's breaking a big wad of spaghetti.
Right. I'm old. I'm decrepit.
Look at you. Barry, you feeling okay? This martial arts is killing you, isn't it?
Like I said, it's got that being thrown around.
It looks like to get your white belt, they just beat the tar out of you. Sinclair's loading. Loading. It'll be awesome. Take it easy, Retro. Any of you guys actually legitimately golf? Any real golfers? I know some of you fellas are out there getting it done on the links. What advice would you give a young man such as myself who is learning the game? I'll take any response. Because I'm quite bad. Just hitting the ball. I can't even drive the ball without humiliating myself. See, I think part of the problem is I don't drink beer. That's my guess. Hey, I found something out this weekend. And what I found out was when you are dieting, you can't drink bourbon at the clip that you're used to. Uh-oh. That's my work phone, Bo. Can you grab that for me? It's in the bag. God. That's not a good sound when that. Hello? Hello? Caught on tape. We get these prank calls so much. And they're business calls trying to sell car insurance and stuff. That's what that was. I did play golf on the O2, Gary, and I'll have to say I was not a fan. Sorry to say. Someone trying to sell me car insurance, boat, on my work phone. And he said, "Thank you for being so brisk and quick when you moved that over." What are you drinking tonight, if I may?
My fancy water.
Oh man, you are a fancy man, aren't you?
They call me Fancy Pants.
They listen, Retro. You could take my phones and do a show on them. These are Kentucky State Police flip phones, brother. They won't spring for anything built in the past 20 years. We just got off the ones that they had these cell phones that had a rotary dial on them. They just moved out of those.
You know, how many Scott Steiner videos have you watched lately on YouTube?
Why? He coming up?
Because
his interviews are funny. They always amuse me.
You know, I read that he was smaller. He was actually smaller when he was Big Papa Pump than when he was Scott Steiner, even though he looks bigger.
He was pretty big then too. He was a monster.
He's dead now, right?
No. He's still alive.
Oh, that's good. Does he still wrestle?
Do you really miss rotary phones? Huh? Yeah. He does indie dates occasionally. What's your all-time favorite golf game that's not? You
know, I meant to talk about this on the show. I was going to go into a whole spiel about why do we both love golf games so much, and next time we do a golf game on our Sinclair, we'll have that talk.
Do you have a favorite that's not Turf Masters? My
second favorite is probably Hot Shots on the PlayStation.
You know what's a great game that no one talks about, and I loved it. I used to play it all the time. Was the Tiger Woods game on the Wii? Where you
I never really got into that.
You actually swing the club. It's really good. It's amazing how much control and stuff you've got.
Oh, sure, I agree. I don't know.
You need to play it with hose. Because when he drives the ball, it looks like he's going to have a heart attack. And his body's all contorted, and he's getting that thing.
I like the Mario Golf on Game Boy Advance. It's like the role-playing game where you have stats and stuff.
I've heard about that, but I heard the golf element's not that great. I heard the rest of it's pretty good.
It's just as good as any old-school golf game. Yeah. There's very few golf games I don't like. This is one of the few that I don't like. I'll sit down and play almost anything.
Yeah, we're both idiot golf guys.
Yeah,
I can't help it. I like the laid back chill of golf.
Me too.
You don't have to be in a hurry.
Yeah, that's why I like watching it on TV. I turn it on, I immediately fall asleep.
It's the exact opposite of this game.
Right.
Where you're continuously screaming at the screen, begging for mercy.
Our Sinclair.
Oh man, this is gonna be quite a show. I have a feeling. Let me turn off the. It didn't turn off the ringer.
Turn on the lights here.
Turn up the lights.
What's that? Turn down the bedclothes.
I don't know what else. I don't know. I just made that up. I don't know if there's a song about that or not.
What's that song? Turn out the light. Who needs tomorrow?
We got tonight.
Is that Bob Seger?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why won't you stay?
People make fun of Bob Seger. Actually, I don't know if that's true or not. I make fun of Bob Seger.
You make fun of Bob Seger?
But he's really got enduring songs. I mean, people are going to be singing.
I'm not a huge fan of Bob Seger, but yeah, you're right. He's got tunes. I like that old time rock and roll or Turn the Page.
I like Night Moves. It's like the story of my life.
That is the story? And Strut, I think that was one of his.
I'm not familiar with Strut.
Loves to watch. A lot of wrestlers used that as their theme back in the day.
Whatever happened to wrestling themes?
They don't use real music anymore, so they're all made by.
They all sound horrible.
Yeah, there's some of them are good. Some of them are okay.
Fandango's is okay.
Fandango, my God. But yeah, they have changed. In the old days, you would hear like one wrestler. There'd be like one song that have like about 10 guys that used it.
Right, and it's like like Hogan's theme. That's a legit song, right? Or did somebody write that for him?
Rick Derringer wrote that. Real American. Yeah, remember Rick Derringer, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo? He wrote that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did he write it for?
He wrote it and performed it.
Oh.
He's the one singing it. I am a...
Oh, yeah.
That was Rick Derringer, man.
What was
You just learned something.
What was Macho's theme?
Pomp and Circumstance.
That's right. That's right. See, man, old wrestling, just the best.
Remember playing that at graduation about 6,000 hours?
Remember how I was a music major and played it an additional 4 more years in college?
Man, and you stuck with bands.
Yeah.
I can't figure out.
If I was a high school band director, I'd still be playing it.
Look, it's that Edvin has got a valid
sorry,
point.
Edvin. I don't want
two A's, brother. Two A's in Aaron.
Oh boy.
It's Aaron.
It's not like Elvis.
Not at all. I'd like to have that suit. What do you like, young Elvis or old Elvis? Which is your preference?
Both of them have their pleasures.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with jumpsuit old Elvis.
Yeah, you can't help but go with him,
Yeah.
right? He's got the cool glasses.
A little less conversation.
A little less
strutting around.
conversation,
Yeah.
a little more action.
This is why I don't lock stuff down.
'Cause
Why
you
do I have
accidentally-
something called Bruce Banner? What is that?
He was believed to be dead, and he must let the world think he is dead.
Is that what I
Ding,
named the
ding,
R.
ding,
Sinclair
ding.
logo? What is this thing? No? Wait a minute. Oh, I couldn't grab it because it was this thing.
Gary, you're watching wrestling? Good on you, buddy. Double A is Norwegian for A. I say double A. Let me see what he's been watching wrestling for the last year, first time since the 80s. Wow. I hope you're not watching WWE. But yeah, there's a lot of good wrestling out there. But
There's a lot of good wrestling out there. It's on YouTube and it's all from the
WrestleMania's
80s.
in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man. We're going to have the party of all parties at your place.
We are.
Yeah, man. Terry, we've been talking about it for months.
Terry's coming over.
Terry's coming.
Which
Hose.
Terry?
Terry Williams.
Okay.
The only Terry we care about.
No, I'll tell Brent. You heard it. She's a supporter.
That's
You
an
just dissed her.
that's an I Terry. I'm talking about the only Y Terry we talk about.
Let's see what's gonna happen. You ready to kick this sucker off? What's the scoop on this? Do I have to do anything except just sit here and point? Look at that.
Let's just make sure everything looks okay.
I almost bought a Spectre about 10 times this week. It's killing me. But then a glass is honed into view, and I unbought one.
The only Spectrum you need to buy is the old Sam Coupe. You get one of those.
Listen,
then we're in
do you
business.
realize how rare those are?
You probably get one for $50, right?
Yeah, I'd love to, listen, I'd love to have one, but the problem with getting one of these things is you got to hope it's going to work on the.
There's a lot of unknowns.
Like I said, that one from Portugal, I was that close to picking it up.
800 pounds plus, says Retro Man Cave.
And he would know. Do you have one in the collection, Retro?
I saw the coolest looking computer I've ever seen in my life. It was a Sony... Retro Man Cave, help me out here. This was on Twitter. I think you might have even posted it. It's some sort of a Sony...
Man, if Retro don't have it, you're boned. I ain't gonna be getting one.
It has a built-in joystick, like where the arrow keys would be.
Into the key. It's not a Spectre Vision, is it?
No. It's a clone of not the X68000, but the other thing. What was that other Japanese computer? The one that Graham wrote that big article about. You've covered it on ARG. MSX, yeah. It was a certain kind of MSX, and I think it was made by Sony. Yeah, the HB101. Luckily, I searched for it immediately. Look at this thing. I'm going to put it up on the screen so everybody can see it shortly here. Where did OBS go? Right here. I'm running into the same thing where I've got... Check that thing out. Is that not the coolest thing you've ever seen in your life?
Are those dual cartridge slots at the top?
Yeah, it is. Dual cartridge slots, built-in joystick, that candy apple red.
The built-in joystick seems a little short-sighted.
Well, you just never know.
But I mean, it's definitely wacky.
Now, it came in a bunch of different colors, but the red would be the one that I'd want. The black
What
cool.
runs on this? Does it run MSX?
Yeah,
stuff?
it's an MSX computer.
Well, let's get one of those.
Yeah.
Are they expensive?
Yes, unfortunately, they're insanely expensive.
Oh, man.
But it's the hit bit, the HB101 hit bit.
Man, that does look sweet, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. You found some. How'd you come across that, if I may ask?
Somebody tweeted a picture of it, and it was like a professional, and I was like, oh, it looks so cool. Look at the cartridge sticking in there.
Yeah, dual cartridge slots, Atari style.
Yeah, you run basic in the other one.
Well, that is why I wonder if the games. So it runs
MSX.
MXS.
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, that's our new show. When's that one starting?
That starts right now,
Sony.
Aaron. I didn't tell you.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. Jiminy Christmas.
So, guys, make sure you don't go anywhere after our Sinclair because we've got a special Insert Disc 2 coming up.
A brief
I don't
one.
even think we'll call it Insert Disc 2. We'll just call it Wrestle Crate Unboxing.
Yeah. Hey, listen, everyone's doing them, right?
Mm-hmm. So, if the name Wrestle Crate intrigues you, stick around.
That's just Pro Wrestling Crate, I think.
Oh, that's not nearly as cool as Wrestle Crate.
Listen, before we-
WrestleCrate.com.
I'll talk about it when we do it. It's not like we're doing unboxing videos, but I got screwed on this box, so I'm gonna open it on the show. All right, I'm ready to rock and or roll.
I got to get my papers in order here.
My God, look at all the crap you got there, dude. All right, I got a little something myself here. All right. I'm gonna make a little fold here so I can know when one thing starts and the other begins. Look at that. There's a blank piece of paper right there. I sure hope nothing important was supposed to be written on that.
What are you doing there?
I'm making a little bookmark for myself.
I've never seen anybody do that with like a stapled. Look at this. You're like an origami guy.
Is that what that is? Oh, well, it's also in the wrong spot. This is a disaster. Just where I wanted it. Son of a gun. Well, watch what I'll do here. Ignore this. There we go. Don't need that. And then we need to come over here.
This is fascinating.
And then we just put that right there. There we go.
I like your style.
Thank you. I'm ready now.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. Had to get that out of my system.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Our Sinclair. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about Chase HQ. Aaron, when was the last time you were chased by the police?
Listen, in my line of work, you run towards the police because things behind you are going horribly wrong.
Have you ever been in a situation where you saw the lights light up behind you and you were like, oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I do? But it turns out they're after somebody else.
Oh,
and they
yeah,
pass
and you get
by.
that sinking feeling.
Mm-hmm.
The last time the lights came on behind me and they were coming to get me, I thought they did get me. They pulled me over. First thing I did is pull out the old cop ID.
Oh, yeah.
I thought maybe I can get a little sway. It worked. I mean, I didn't get a ticket.
You're one of the Brotherhood now.
No. I think they consider me pond scum level.
No.
You know, but yeah.
No. Did you say, hello, fellow boy in blue?
No, I didn't say that. No. Also, I'm from another state. So that
It gets weird with the different state
It does.
departments.
It gets weird. I don't know if they're buddies or not.
Yeah.
I always wonder about that.
Aaron, last week I asked our Spectrum community, our lovely listeners, what their favorite game was. And we got tons of responses. We got lots of votes for winter games.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody voted for Combat School. That's one of my favorites.
One of your
I
marks
had to
is
stick
out
that in
there.
there, yeah. And Daley Thompson Super Test, which we're going to have to play this game.
Yeah, he's got a couple games.
This was one of the games that came out with the 128. I think it might have even been a pack-in or sold in a bundle or something. And once again, a Reddit user, they took jobs. He says that he was looking at the Spectrum World page. He wrote this big, long review about why Daley Thompson Super Test is great. So if you're not on the Spectrum Reddit page, go and check that out. But
is that the game we tried? Was that Super Test that we tried?
Oh, I know that we have a physical copy of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we
I
played it
tried
together or
that
not.
already,
Okay.
yeah.
But he says that apparently they had a really difficult time developing the game, and so they used a load of modified hypersports code. Isn't that crazy?
That is wacky.
Yeah.
No, hey, that's good insight. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So thank you. They took our jobs.
I'd like some background on your name. They took our jobs.
It comes from a South Park
How do
episode.
you spell
You are.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think that's one of the planets in Star Wars too. Yeah. So Aaron, it's time to talk about Chase HQ.
All right. So, little known fact, I have had many arcade machines in my life. I've not owned the Chase HQ, but I know of it. I've played it. So before we get into the Spectrum game itself proper, have you played this in the arcade?
Never.
Have you seen it in the arcade?
I've only seen pictures of it because this is famous for having the two big sirens on the sides of the cab, right? Physical, real siren. I get this confused with the pinball machine that does the same thing. High
speed?
Yeah, high speed.
Well, it's clearly different. But I knew a guy that actually, there was a Chase HQ within 5 miles of this very spot for many years. My buddy owned one.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. In the arcade, this was developed and published by Taito. Good old Tato. They were at it again. And this came out way back in '88. You know, so a pretty long ago. Now, the interesting thing about this game, you wouldn't believe how many sequels and stuff this thing. Did you know this thing got a bunch of sequels in the arcade?
I never knew that.
So get this, okay? And it itself was sort of a kind of a sequel. It's a spiritual successor to a game that Tato put out called Full Throttle, not to be confused with the LucasArts game, which that was a good game. After this came out, they released Special Criminal Investigation. That was out in '92. Chase HQ 2, that came out in 2007.
Wow.
How about that? And then there were 2 spin-offs released, Crime City in '89 and Quiz HQ in '90. Quiz HQ.
We need to do a special episode of all the Chase HQ spin-offs. I can only hope it's as much fun as Quiz and Dragons.
That's the goofiest thing I've ever heard. So this is in the arcade and on the Spectrum, this is a single-player, upright, set-down cabinet in the arcade. You've got both. I've seen both. You've got an upright, and there's also a set-down. Basically, you're in a cop car, and thank God it's not like this in real life, because I was thinking about how bad this would be. But you get a call in from headquarters in the arcade version. I'll get into the Spectrum version in a minute. But you get a call from headquarters. You get behind the wheel. You gun it, and your goal is to catch up to and then destroy the car of a suspect. All right. That's the game. Now, this game in the arcade was real popular. Clearly, it got a lot of sequels. And the funny thing about it is, people liked the fact that you did something with your car.
Right.
That was sort of the thing at the time. As opposed to just racing, you tried to...
You turn your car into a weapon. Yeah.
Basically. And really, all this stuff pretty much comes right over to the Spectrum version. And really, the home versions didn't go too far from their source material on this. So the Spectrum version came out in '89, and it was published by Ocean. Now I looked these guys up that worked on this and tried to ascertain what their job was. Okay, so the first fellow that worked on this name was John O'Brien. He was the programmer, and he worked on a couple other games, Dark Fusion and North Star. Again, we don't know what these games are. Now, Bill Harbison, I think he did the art and like the pictures and stuff, like the little, and there are some great pictures.
Yeah, like the portraits of the people in the game,
right.
Things like that.
This guy worked on a lot of stuff. Or on a few things. He worked on Daley Thompson's Olympic Challenge. One of my favorite games that I haven't tried on. I'm anxious to try this on the Spectrum. Dragon Ninja, aka Bad Dude.
I can't wait for that episode.
Bad. I love that one. RoboCop and WEC Le Mans. All right, so he worked on those. Now, this guy, Jonathan Dunn, I'm sure this guy's super famous, and people are going to be like, listen, these stupid Americans don't know who he is, because he worked on everything. He was a music guy, all right, and sound effects. He did Addams Family. I'm not going to go through all of his, but he did Addams Family, Dark Man, New Zealand Story, Operation Wolf, Rambo 3, Renegade 3, RoboCop, Target Renegade, T2, Vindicator. He did a ton of games. So this guy must have been a whiz. And I will say, this is the first Spectrum game that we've played so far that had really good tunes, I thought. Didn't you think so, too?
Yeah, absolutely.
They go away, but I mean, they were good.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, this is a 128K game,
right. So
it's using more than just the beeper.
Right, but I mean, they were fine.
Yeah.
I was when it kicked up, I was like, yeah, that sounds good. This original price for this thing when it came out was £9.99. The disc version, basically 15 pounds, and it eventually got released on budget as well. And they're actually just on the Spectrum. There were 2 of these, Chase HQ and then Chase HQ 2 Special Criminal Investigation. So I'm assuming they took the arcade SCI and brought it home. But we didn't look at that, so I didn't go into that much. So, as we mentioned, this game's got a simple premise. You're cops, and you are out to run bad guys off the road and destroy their car. So, after this, and of course, we were both playing this emulated this week since the Spectrum's down. It comes up. Give us your first impressions.
Well, I was instantly
impressed with how, when I started playing the game, the feeling of playing the game was the same as playing the arcade machine. Of course, you know, it's a very monochrome existence out there on the roadway. The way that this screen is drawn is that you have your horizon is one color, and then the road and the scenery and the other cars and your car are another color. However, the trade-off is that this game plays extremely, extremely fast. You know, there is no slowdown whatsoever. All the elements of the game are there. You know, the little prelude where you get the call from dispatch and whatever, the Iowa slashers on the loose, all that stuff is there. The sirens on top of the on your left and right upper corners are there. They start going off when you get inside of the enemy.
Proper color on, on the top screen.
It's really, you know, an amazing achievement. To be honest with you, I didn't think that any Spectrum game could produce an arcade port that was this accurate, given the limitations of the system.
It's funny. Before we even conceived of doing this show, you conceived of it. I had heard a lot about this game, and so I saw that there was an Amiga version, and I loaded it up. So I have something to compare this to. In terms of, and I also looked at the Versus video that got put up this week, which we'll mention that a little bit later. And I played the Amiga version before I played this one. And I will say, and I don't want to offend any of our Amiga people out there, but I thought it was garbage, hot garbage.
It's not good. I've played the Amiga version.
I hated it. I thought it ran like, it didn't look that good, and it didn't run that good. And so when this got picked, I had heard the Spectrum version this was really good, but I had just played the Amiga version, so you can imagine what my thoughts were going in. So the game comes up, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, let's see how this thing goes. And I have to say, not only does it, of course, it blows away visually what the Amiga had. I mean, this blows away Amiga Outrun. I mean, it looks the feeling of speed. And the graphics, again, color aside, and we know the limitations there, or we know of them. It's sharp, it looks good, and the roadway stuff is rendered very nicely, and the stuff going by. It's amazing that something with 128K, and given the limitations of the Spectrum, can generate graphics of this quality, including, and we should mention, digitize the voice in there occasionally. And for the most part, because I played the arcade game a few times before I gave this a shot too, they capture the spirit of the arcade quite nicely. Even given some of the limitations, they still do a good job. This game has 5 levels, and we'll talk about how far you got here in a minute. The levels that are different characters that you're going to have to get, bad guys. So the first one is Ralph. As Bo mentioned, Ralph, the Idaho slasher.
It's just such a strange conflagration of the Idaho slasher.
Yeah, now
maybe he's got a potato peeler.
The arcade version of this had him driving a white Lotus Esprit. They tell you what they're driving in this. The second guy is Carlos, the New York armed robber. He's in a yellow Lamborghini in the arcade. The third guy, these are just Chicago pushers.
Hey.
No one likes a pushy guy from Chicago. No. They're in the silver Porsche. The fourth outfit are the LA Kidnapper. Not good. And the blue Ferrari. And my personal favorite, the Eastern Bloc Spy in the red Porsche. Makes sense. You know,
hey.
He's a red.
You know what they call the Idaho slasher in Chase HQ?
What?
A tato peeler.
Oh, God. What? No. What? You made that up? That's your joke?
That's Retro Man Cave right there in the chat right now. Boom! Retro Man Cave with the killer jokes.
Oh, man. stick to your tech videos, pal. So, now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. And of course, it's got the stuff you would usually expect in a game like this. You've got your various control options. You got your Kensington. You've got your keyboard. You've got your Define keyboard. There was one other one there that I can't remember.
Some other interface.
Yeah. Define keyboard. Now, so I tried this various ways. The first thing I did, I was like, I'm going to try just using the keyboard. And so, of course, I'm using a PC keyboard. And I set my stuff up and I went. The controls in this, you've got a button that does a gear shift. You've got turbo, you've got left and right, and you accelerate. What were the control methods that you tried?
So I started with the trusty Epix XJ500 stick, my go-to stick on the Spectrum. However, this is one of those games where you have to push up to accelerate.
I knew you were right.
And
there
so the stick didn't last long because I got real tired of doing that. So what I did was
and if you let go of the stick for a second, you slow down.
Right.
It is relentlessly oppressive about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So instead what I did was I used the keyboard. I defined my keys accordingly.
Yeah.
And set just a button to go to accelerate, and then a left and right button, and then the turbo button. So that worked out much, much better.
Yeah, I did the same. So when you on the first level of this game, you start off, Nancy gives you the mission. I should mention who you are. We didn't get into this. So you're basically there are two characters in the car. You are a police officer named Tony Gibson, and you're a member of the Chase Special Investigation Department, and your partner is Raymond Brody. All right?
That's a great partner name.
and Nancy is the chick that's barking orders at you and giving you the directions. So in the first level of this, when you're going out to get the Idaho Slasher in his car, you have to, and every level's like this, you have to catch up to the guy first, okay? So, and this, sort of like an outrun, this is a lot like outrun in a lot of ways. You come to forks in the road, and you have to pick left or right. Now, on the first level, there's like an arrow that tells you which way to go. Now, one of the first things I did was go the wrong way.
I went the wrong way, too.
But eventually, you can still catch up, but it takes longer. And then you drive, and at the top of the screen is a meter that tells you how close you are to the criminal. This thing's painful to watch because as you drive along, of course, you've got low and high gear. That part's a lot, sort of like an outrunner pole position, yeah. And every time you hit something, well, it's time to flip into low gear, try to build up speed.
Yeah.
I read the optimum speed in low gear to high gear was 188. That's what I read. Okay. Which is that's what I tried to go by. I needed every cheat and every connive I could think of to get through this. So eventually you catch up to the bad guy. Now it's your job to ram this sucker until he explodes. All right. We should mention that you're on a timer, and this timer is oppressive. You get a certain amount of credits to continue in this game, and if you don't get to the guy by the time your credits run out,
it's
game's over. So, and I want you to be brutally honest here when I ask you, because this is an important question. Did you ever, without cheating, blow up the first guy?
No.
Okay. The first guy is driving what I believe is some sort of Abrams tank. I beat the tar out of this guy.
Me too. I was so excited when I got to him because I was like, all right, this is the first boss, going to be a piece of cake. And you're sitting there ramming him.
And I'm guessing here, but so this happened to me every time. I drove up to where the guy was, and I ran out of time. When you run out of time and you have to continue, well, here's what happens. Your car slows down to basically zero, and you have to wait for the sign to come up that says, well, do you want to continue? Well, while that's happening, the bad guy's hauling butt down the road. And so what's that mean? Well, once you continue the game, you've got to start again. That means building back up the speed. Then you have to catch the guy. Then you have to ram him. It's my belief that every time you continue, he must be getting recharged back to full health. Because I would beat the tar out of this guy. And I can say, and people can mock me because I know people are better at this game than me, I could not defeat a single car. I tried every level.
It's funny because usually the arcade versions of games are more difficult because they want you to just keep pumping quarters in. And I got so frustrated with this thing, I was like, screw it. I'm going to play the arcade version. I got to the first guy, beat the first guy.
Way easier. Way easier. So I found a cheat. If you watch the playthrough on this, by the way, they have the timer turned off, which I didn't know. I don't know how you do that. I couldn't do it. So, but I did find the cheat that would give me unlimited continues. This is the most frustrating cheat of all time because I must have continued 100 times. I was like, I'm going to kill this guy before he kills me, and I hit him and hit him and hit him and hit him. It's so frustrating to run out of time, start over, get back up to speed, catch him, hit him, he doesn't die, and then you run out of time again. The timer in this thing, I would like to meet and salute the man who can beat this game without using a continue, who can beat the first guy without using the continue. He must be, just to get to him, I had to use continue. The roads in this aren't super wide, and there are other cars on the road, and there's some pretty deep curves in this thing, and it is difficult to not hit stuff. Did you have that problem? Just hitting nondescript cars?
I hit stuff constantly.
Yeah. It's difficult. The roads aren't that big. And
and you're moving real fast.
If you compare this to like a Lotus on the Amiga, right, which is that's a comparison you can make.
Oh, sure.
In the way it turns, the way it looks.
Yeah.
Lotus is I don't know if it's the controls. I don't know what it is, or the way the cars move.
The streets are much less crowded, or maybe the streets are wider. I don't know, but you definitely don't hit things as often.
It's frustrating. So I found another cheat that let me, if you go to where you define the keys and you type in a certain word.
Is it a naughty word?
No, I can't remember what it's scorched, I think, or something like that.
Amiga sucks.
No, God no. But you type it in, and what it does is it gives you a special menu, and that menu will let you have unlimited continues, or it'll also let you skip through the levels. So I did get to skip through the levels, so I could see the other levels. Now on the second level, and I think every other level, a helicopter comes in, and the helicopter will tell you which way to go. That's pretty cool.
I remember that from the arcade game.
And it looks good. I mean, it looks real good. And it doesn't slow things down like you'd think it would. And so the helicopter will tell you which way to go, and you follow it. But I mean, it's the exact same thing. Different type of car you're getting. But I mean, and the cars, when you get to a car, and you tell me if this is your experience, when you finally get to the computer car, hitting that car is no easy task, is it?
No.
It's the only car in the game that I couldn't ram into repeatedly. What did you think about the meat of the game?
You know, this game is a technical achievement. It's a technical masterpiece. The person that programmed this game, who is the person that programmed this game?
John O'Brien, as far as I could tell.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius. It's just too hard. It was too hard for me. You know, I wasn't able to enjoy it as much as I wanted to because it was just too much. It was too challenging. And I think it was unfairly difficult. I don't know what I would have, I would have made the boss, I guess, I could handle, not being able to avoid the cars very often. But man, the reason why this game was a hit, why was this game so popular? Why did it spawn so many sequels? Well, there's, like you said, we talked about at the beginning of the show, there's 1,000,001 racing games in the arcades. There are very, very few arcade games that reward you for ramming other cars. One game that does is Bump and Jump. It's also another fantastic game.
Great game. Yeah.
This is another game.
I think it's way better. The arcade version is way better than the arcade version of this, in my opinion.
This is a game that gives you that same feeling, but with a pole position, third-person perspective, which is very exciting. Plus the storyline, what you're doing in the game, how they flesh it out with the characters, you know, really cool. The fact that they put real cars in the game, the bad guy's always driving some kind of exotic sports car, and there's a part of all of us that love seeing expensive things smashed into smithereens.
Yeah.
This game is a really, really cool game. It's just a shame that they made it a little bit too tough.
I wonder, part of me wonders if they ever, because I looked to see if this fellow, John O'Brien, had done much else racing-wise. I don't know what Dark Fusion is or North Star, but I'm assuming they're not racing games. I can only hope that they use this engine for other stuff. And we'll find out, I guess, as we go through this. But the engine is rock solid. Rock solid. Even the controls, I'm not saying it doesn't control that well. It's okay. It's not the best.
Here is something that I was pondering.
Yeah.
As I often do when I'm laying in bed at night trying to sleep. I was pondering why more games don't take the track that that Rally Speedway on the Atari game does, where acceleration is automatic. As soon as you go, you're going, and you use the button to brake. If this game would have done that, boy, it would have been a whole lot more fun to play.
Well, I like yourself, I tried the joystick, then I went back to the keyboard, and it didn't help. I mean, it helped a little, I guess. My hands were less tired.
Yeah, it helped my hand fatigue.
But the bottom of the truth is the game is incredibly difficult. As an added kick in the pantaloons, as you're continuously failing, Nancy is bad mouthing you perpetually.
You'll never reach him if you keep on dawdling around.
What are you waiting on?
Right.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Why did you send me out
No
in rush
respect.
hour traffic?
No respect.
One of the first places you go, in the very first level, you go through like road closed signs, and you're going through like the desert. And my thought was, how did all these other cars get out here? And why are we going this way? It was crazy. But I echo a lot of what you said. What you've got here are the bones of a tremendous game. For me, and I know from looking at other people's love for this game, it's a little bit like we just covered links on the Amiga show. It's a beautiful game. The engine's great, but the actual gameplay just lets me down. It's too hard. Mm-hmm. It's too hard for me. It wasn't because of the joystick. It wasn't because of the keyboard. There's not enough real estate, and there's not enough time. Even if they had the same real estate and just gave you more time, or even if they did, let's say they didn't change anything, but they made the character's ability to die easier, then it would have been more fun. It's so frustrating to just pound and pound and pound this car and it not go down. It was one of the most frustrating games I've ever played, because I liked every aspect of it. I liked the music. I went through the whole game. I tried every level, and really, what you get is the backgrounds alternate from yellow to white, back and forth, and they had the helicopter. But basically it's the same thing over and over, and at the end there's an ending to it. It's well drawn. It looks cool, They didn't let you down in that department. It's got a great opening screen. The loading screen's cool. I did load this off the simulated tape thing, so I sat through the whole loading to see how long it would take. I like it. I liked everything about it except for the actual parts that we complained about I didn't like. You got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I guess, is this what is your favorite racing game in this perspective?
Oh boy. Across the board?
Across the board.
I'm going to date myself, but a game I really liked that you don't hear about much anymore was Turbo. I thought it was a fun game.
That's this perspective?
Yeah.
I thought Turbo was...
It's sort of like... The angle's a little bit different.
Okay, but it's still behind the back.
Yeah, that's right. I also liked, Lotus 2 was tremendous. I really liked that. I like a lot of games, like the Outrun, of course.
But what's your favorite? If you had to choose one.
It's hard to pick one, Boat. I don't know.
I'm making you make the tough choices.
What's your choice?
No question. Outrun.
Outrun's awful good.
It's the perfect mix of beautiful graphics, rockin' tunes, branching pathways. I love it. I love everything about it.
Outrun's very good. It's definitely up in the top couple.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Daytona.
Yeah, I'm not great at it, to be honest with you. Again, and also a good game. And
of course, by Outrun, I mean the Amiga port of Outrun.
Oh God, no. The less said about that, the better. So, I looked at these reviews. I want to talk about these reviews a little bit, because I got a little insight into each one of these things. So, the World of Spectrum folks gave this an 8.39, very lofty score,
yes,
and a ton of votes. So, Crash Magazine of '89 gave this a 95. Your Sinclair gave this a 94. Right? CVG a 97. Do you see a trend here? I mean, it got massive love. It won awards. It was the Sinclair version and the Amstrad version were widely regarded as the two best versions of all the home ports. Mm-hmm. So this was amongst the most popular ones. The Games Machine gave it 91, and Ace gave it an 87. All huge scores. I couldn't help but think that they knew something I didn't know. It's what drives me nuts about this title.
Well, here's the thing. This was a late release for the 128K, which was not getting a lot of quality releases. It suffered the same fate that the Commodore 128 got, where they put out this new machine that had better capabilities, and nobody took advantage of it because nobody wanted to split the user base.
Right.
So I think a lot of these high marks were just because this was such an impressive feat of coding that they looked, they might have overlooked the difficulty just a bit.
I wonder why the programmer didn't do much else. I mean, I don't know about these other two games.
Real-time follow-up. Darren Cole says that the same guy that did this game did the driving sections of Batman the movie on the Amiga, which you recall has a driving section.
Yeah, they're actually kind of similar to this too. Now,
yeah, he says it was developed from the WEC Le Mans Specky game they did before Chase HQ.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good tip there, dude. Now, was there a lower version of this as well?
Yeah, so there was a 48K version. I couldn't figure out how to load it. Like my, the tape file that I had from the Toset collection it just said 48K to 128K, and I tried loading it with the 48K, but it's still in the emulator loaded up the 128K version, or maybe the 48K version was so good that I didn't know the difference. But I figured that that's not the case because they have the speech and everything like that and the music. So, one thing I thought we'd look at real quick was Duncan Stiles did a comparison video here of the Chase HQ on the Spectrum version versus the Amstrad version. And as you can see, the Amstrad version has it's obviously got more colors, but it doesn't. The frame rate just isn't the same. It's noticeably more choppy than the Spectrum version.
And I will say, I watched this video, and the Amstrad version still looks better than the Amiga version. I mean, it looks more playable. But of the two, I mean, if you look at just straight up smoothness of play, this Spectrum version is clearly smooth.
Not to mention, the Spectrum can generate a real red for the for the siren up at the top of the page.
Yeah. So thank you, Duncan, for putting that together. We did get some Amigos Retro Gaming Discord server community reviews. If you are a Patreon supporter of this show, you can put a review in the Our Sinclair channel on our server. Graham Vebke says, with my current limited knowledge of ZX titles, this arcade game has super smooth driving and a great feeling of speed using turbo while chasing down criminals. The game is difficult, which is similar to the arcade version for me, so this is a very faithful 8-bit conversion and possibly the best home port of this arcade game, even without Nancy's voice.
Yes.
Paul Bossman Harrington says, one of the best arcade conversions for the Spectrum, putting even the Amiga version to shame. Great music, sampled speech, smooth animation with lots of great details such as audio muffling when going through tunnels. That was one thing I forgot to mention.
Yeah,
the sound design in this game is excellent.
I will say, if you watch the video that is up, it sounds. I think it sounds better than the Amstrad version, and also the you get the continual cop, the sound the oven didn't give you. Now you want to kill yourself after you hear that for about 20 straight minutes,
right.
But still you do get to hear it.
Pixels at Dawn says this is a unique driving game with a great title tune on the 128K and a steep difficulty curve. Never before have criminals owned such indestructible vehicles.
Okay, good. I'm glad someone else mentioned that.
A real sense of speed, but it's too hard to steer around other vehicles, and so too hard for me.
Yep.
Duncan Stiles, the Dunk, he says, something about the way the cars move combined with the slightly off collision detection makes passing another vehicle without hitting it a small victory.
He's right.
Fun and technically very impressive, but flawed gameplay and a time limit that expects near perfection lets it down. 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
And finally, the one and only Chris Folds says they achieved 3 impossible things with this port. Number 1, recreate the feel of a top-end arcade machine. Number 2, make it better than the 16-bit conversions. And number 3, made it harder than the arcade.
Yes.
I want to like it, love it even, but I'm just so bad at it, I've only seen stage 2 once, yet can regularly get to stage 3 on the arcade version. 7 out of 10.
That sounds very similar to what we thought about it. Just in case you want to pick this up, I had a look on eBay, Boat. There weren't. I thought there'd be oodles of these. I'll be honest with you, there weren't. I only saw a couple in the UK, and you're going to be to get the boxed version. You're going to be in for. I mean, such as it is, you're going to be in between 8 and 13 buckaroos US dollars. So it's not a huge investment.
No.
But
Did you notice if the 48K version or the 128K version
I think
were more
these are
common?
both the 120. I don't
Okay.
think I saw them with the 48. I'm not sure I specified. I have to go back and look, but cheap. Cassettes are usually pretty cheap.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So as we wind down this week's show, I would like to remind everybody that if you like our Sinclair and you want to help us out, in addition to supporting us on Patreon, you can help spread the word on whatever social media that you have or whatever forums you visit.
Bathroom wall.
Yeah, bathroom
Scrawl it
wall.
on
For a
there.
good time, listen to our Sinclair. You can send us any feedback you have on the show at feedback@oursinclair.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this game and also our community question this week, which is, what is your favorite over-the-shoulder third-person driving game on the Spectrum? This is one of my favorite genres, so I'd love to hear
Yeah, we need tips.
some other games to
We
try.
need tips to try.
I would like to thank our Spectrum supporters, our Patreon supporters, who give of themselves so much every month to help us out. Graham Vebke, Frodo NL, Tapes from the Crypt, Pixels at Dawn, Chris Folds, Paul Harrington, and Christopher Hassel. Thank you so much. And if you would like to
Thank you,
support the
fellas.
show, that is patreon.com/OurSinclair. Next week, Aaron, we're taking a look at one of the classic, all-time classics on the Specty,
All right.
Manic Miner.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You know I've never played Manic Miner?
Really?
I've never played it.
We're gonna have to.
No, we played the sequel, right?
You played Jet? Did you do that on ARG with Brent? Jet Set
Yeah,
Willie?
we did that one.
Okay.
So I am well ready to go.
All right. Well, until then, keep on playing your Spectrum and rewind tape.
And press play.
Right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Retro Man Cave. Pixels. Future was 8-bit. I know it's crazy late for you guys. It's got to be 1 o'clock. Actually, I don't know how the time change works. Maybe it's early. Maybe you're actually before us now. The time change confuses me. Amiga Bong, thanks for hanging out. Ricky DeRocher. Edvin, of course. Darren.
It's crazy late here. Let's unbox something.
All right. Oh, it's only 11 in the UK. Oh, that's great. So the time change works out for you guys. Have you already opened this thing,
No,
or do you need
no,
some sort of
no.
a implement?
No. Ooh.
Oh, man. Sometimes it's hard dealing with tablecloths.
Yeah, it is. You almost destroyed the picnic. Picnic almost ruined. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy.
Let's see. So you need a gimmick. You got a
Gimmick.
fork in your pocket,
I don't.
Abdullah style?
I'm not Abdullah, no. Despite my weight.
Here, just use the sharp edge of that.
All right. I'll lead us through this, and
Okay.
you can help me when I get
Okay,
in.
I'm going to start it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our
Oh, wait a
rare
minute.
channel.
We got to take off the arsenal.
Goodbye, everyone. Put up our unboxing logo, Bo.
Okay, here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a rare treat here with the Amigos. Today, we'll be unboxing this. The Pro Wrestling Crate.
Oh.
Let's talk about the Pro Wrestling Crate for a minute, Bo. And you're wondering, why are we doing this? Well, that's a good question. A couple months ago, me and Teresa watch a lot of videos on YouTube about unboxing. I don't know why. It's a stupid thing, but we do. And I had seen a couple of these things, and they came with, each one of these Pro Wrestling Crates come with two t-shirts. You pay for the right one. I think I paid $30, I think, for this thing. And so I ordered one on a monthly basis, all right? And so they shipped it to us. In fact, I wore both shirts I won on this show. One was a Johnny Gargano shirt, and one was what was the other one I wore? I can't remember. But anyway, they were good shirts. And Bret the Hitman Hart. And so, but I was happy with them. And each month, these wrestling crates have a theme. And the theme for this month sounded stupid, and I didn't want to pay any more money. So I was ready to go cancel it. Well, one thing I learned about these crate situations is they will hose you if you don't cancel quick enough.
Oh, yeah.
And so, despite the fact that this thing shipped several weeks later, they'd already charged my credit card like some bums. So, just for fun, I thought, well, I haven't opened this yet. Let's take it over and we'll open it here live on the air. So, Boat, I'm going to use this classic Boat box opener, this Ram here. I'm going to destroy the crap out of it to try to get this box open. Now, Boat, have you ever gotten a subscription box?
I have, they're all the rage these days.
They are.
The loot crates and such, but I have yet to subscribe. I've yet to succumb. I can only hope that this is a giant haystacks and Big Daddy combo.
Oh, yeah, I know where you say. Listen, if they had a shirt in here that would fit Big Daddy, I'd be in business. So, now here's what I'm going to do, just for fun, Boat. I'm going to get this stuff out, and I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to see if you know what the heck it is.
Okay.
All right. So I've unboxed it. Now there's a ticket in here. This is the way they always do it when you see these unboxings. Here's the card that has the contents of the crate. We're going to put that aside because we don't want to spoil the surprise. So we're also going to move the T-shirts aside. We'll save those for last. So. The first thing in the crate here.
So you get other stuff besides
Yes,
T-shirts.
sir.
Okay.
This looks like a poster. Okay, so let's open this poster up here. I'm going to move this crate a little bit. So
Here, I can take the crate, or I can take.
here,
I can
take this and
whatever
set
you
this
need.
over to the side here.
Okay.
So this first poster here, it looks like a. Now this month's theme I should mention is podcasts.
Oh.
Wrestlers that have podcasts.
I don't really listen to those.
Well, that's okay. And so what you've got here, this is an Edge and Christian. You know who they are?
Are they like Bill and Ted?
Well, this is a Bill and Ted ripoff here.
Oh, okay.
Here's the. This is a
Now
pretty good-
these are real wrestlers.
Yeah, Edge and Christian. You know, Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
And then this is their podcast, and you can see who's in the little time machine here. Do you recognize any of these wrestlers?
Yep.
Who are they?
Okay, Vader,
That's right.
Piper,
Right.
Bobby the Brain.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that had Pepe, the stick.
Incorrect. That's his brother. That's his cousin, or his nephew, I should say. But you're close. Right family. That's Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, okay.
That's actually pretty clever. And now, one thing you'll learn about these mail order things is they normally don't want to pay nobody nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have slightly off characters.
So they'll never actually put the names of the people.
Right,
on these
exactly.
things.
But I think that's a pretty good poster, isn't it? Now you don't know who Edge and Christian are, do you?
I thought that Edge and Christian was a first and last name when you said that.
They are.
That's Edge and Christian.
That's pretty good. I like the poster.
Are they good? Are they good wrestlers?
Oh, they're
Good
retired,
workers?
but they have a pretty. They were great in their day. Okay, now let's look in here for the next item. Now, normally when you get these boxes, they'll have little action figures or magnets or some kind of crap. So what do we got here? Now, do you know who that is?
X-Pac. I remember. Is that a guy or is that a movement?
That's a guy.
Okay.
X-Pac. He also was
X-Pac.
known as Six. This is an exclusive collector's pin. Now,
What are you going to pin that on?
exclusive to whom? What would you do with such a pin? I always wonder that when I see these.
Some people have jackets and they load up their jackets.
Are
with
they
pins.
jean jackets from the 80s?
Sometimes, or you could buy a fashionable vest and put those on there.
Like Stone Cold.
Yeah.
A jean. Now, see, you might be onto something, Boat. X-Pac.
he
Now,
was the guy that was this
yeah,
thing,
that's
right?
him. I actually liked him. Believe it or not, I'm going to get into a little bit of wrestling. The first time I saw X-Pac, he was known. He was a guy in the Global Wrestling Federation known as the Lightning Kid. He had a real sweet mullet. He was pencil thin, and I thought he was an enhancement talent. And the first match
What
he
does that
won.
mean?
A jobber.
Okay.
But he won. He ended up being their lightweight champion, and that's where I first heard him. He was a tremendous wrestler. He still works to this day. Great guy. Well, he's got his issues, but he was a good worker. Okay, next on the docket. Now this you should know who that is. It's a little figure.
Jim Ross.
That's a good old JR right there. That's kind of cute, isn't it?
Now, when they used to say who shot JR,
The whole
That's-
different gimmick. This is JR stands for Jim Ross. You know,
Yep.
Jim Ross. He's the
Jim
old
Ross.
announcer. You know, so I like Jim Ross. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here we go. You got to try this on, I think. This is a guy, and we'll put this on. This is a headband. This is an official.
I thought it was a jock strap for a second.
No. I don't want you to put that on, Boat. This right here is an official Boom Boom Colt Cabana headband. Try that on, Boat.
Can you explain what this word
It's
is?
Cabanarama. That's sort of like Hulkamania.
Oh, okay.
Right now, as we speak.
Is it running wild as we speak?
Colt Cabana, one half of the Second City Saints out of Chicago, is in the Elite Final 8 in the New Japan Cup. He's a comedy wrestler from Chicago. Good worker, very amusing cat, does a lot of commentary.
I'm not going to lie to you. This is a good look.
You're making that work. You leave that on. Now, normally when you get these boxes, you get a video, which is kind of stupid because there's the WWE Network, there's YouTube.
Right.
There's wrestling coming out the yin yang, but they send you something anyway. And so this month they sent this.
The
debate.
Monday Night Wars, the debate.
This is the debate between Chris Jericho, Bruce Pritchard, a.k.a. Brother Love,
You know I love Brother Love.
And Chris Jericho.
Remember, I just asked you to watch Brother Love the other night, and you turned me down.
Yes, so that I've not heard that. So that might be. I'm sure that was from a con or something. It's a con. It's all a con. Now look, here's another poster. I've never seen 2 posters coming in one of these things. So this is quite a lot of stuff actually for one of these. Now this is a. Here you go. Now you'll never get this one because even I'm not sure who this is. There you go.
Those guys don't even look like wrestlers. It looks like Chuck Norris, and that's like a thin Silent Bob.
I think what you've got here, is the Major Brothers from the WWE who are now known as Zack Ryder, and I'm trying to think of his partner. He's lost like 100 and some matches in a row. I think that's who these guys are. I've not heard this podcast. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that you may be on your own on that one. That's kind of neat, I guess. Now every one of these loot crates come with a autographed picture.
Really? Ooh.
Which is we're gonna look at it right here. Are you excited?
I can't wait to see. This is really where the suspense. Could you imagine if there was? Okay, before you open it, what if it's Zeus?
If it's Zeus, that would be cool. I would give that to you. I'd hand it over.
I would put it immediately on the wall in a solid gold frame.
So let's see. And I want to see if you can even know who this is, or even I know, because I mean, sometimes even I don't know who they are. Now I will say, last month the one I got was Greg the Hammer Valentine, which was awesome. Oh, now this is pretty good. Do you know who this man is?
That's Jerry the King Lawler.
Jerry the King Lawler autographed picture. Now that I did not expect. Very nice. If you collect autographs, I don't think you do, but that's a good picture too. Those are authentic.
You have quite a collection of autographs, don't you?
I do. Look, there's even a little there's a certified gimmick on the corner there.
Yeah,
so
you know
Jerry
it can't
Lawler,
be fake if they put a foil sticker
Jerry
on
Lawler actually. So hand me the first T-shirt vote. Let's see what's on that.
This is going to be slightly anticlimactic.
Okay, I think this is the same as that poster of those 2 goofs. So there you go. These T-shirts are actually big on me now, so that's something else I didn't get changed aside. So there you go. There's a picture of those guys that I couldn't identify, and I'm guessing this is the other one that was a poster. So that's kind of a letdown. The exact same T-shirt.
Is that normally not the case with the wrestling?
Well, you normally don't get a poster. I'm thinking this
okay.
is the poster of the Bill and Ted guys. So there you go. That's what you get for your $30 that you really didn't want to spend in the first place. Any thoughts, Colt?
Boy, there's $30 is a lot of money for for 2. But like I said, if you are an autograph collector, I bet the King charges $20 at a show for an autograph, right?
Plus, like last month I got 2 really good T-shirts, and this month I got one that I'd say is pretty good. And this one I'm not going to rag on Zack Ryder and
Detroit Wheels,
but I mean and I'll wear it just because I'll wear anything I've got, but it's not the best in my opinion. So.
I do like their little logo there on the side of the box, the bear and the singlet.
Yeah. So we'll get our little card here. This is what all the shows do, and we're going to fall right in line.
Okay.
If I can find where did I put that little card? I'll give you that, or is it sitting over here? Here it is. So it'll tell us what this stuff is. So the Jerry the King autograph, the DVD, the X-Pac, we got that. We got the posters and the Colt Cabana, Jim Ross. Now, Hawkins, that's the guy's name. That's the other guy, Riders and Hawkins. The funny thing about these guys is they never appear on TV. It's very rare, and they always lose. So they're a jobber tag team that they just got together, and the reason they job so much is Zack Ryder, when he was trying to get over, started his own internet show. They got real popular, and he declared himself internet champion. He had a belt. He was all that stuff. Well, people started really cheering for him. He got real popular in wrestling, but the McMahons didn't get him over. He got himself over. They just slammed him down. That was into him.
So now is he just working independent?
No, he works for WWE. But if you get too popular and they're not behind you, they just crush you. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
It's gonna be the only business on earth that happens. So there you go. The unboxing of the Wrestle Crate. Your opinions as we close this thing down.
Well, that's some swag with some guys. I don't know. It seems like these guys should own the copyright to their likenesses, and they should be getting some bucks out of this.
Well,
like Piper.
Piper, again, some of these guys it's complicated. I don't know who's got what. I'm not sure those are is that paper? Maybe that's an artist rendering. They may get away with
It's
it.
Rifer.
Listen, I'm just saying that's the way they do it. I'm sure Colt and some of these like Lawler's probably got a separate deal, stuff like that. But it's complicated. Who knows? Who knows how this stuff happens? There you go. So with that, we will bid you adieu. We may never do another unboxing boat.
Well, it depends. Anytime you get another pro wrestling crate, I'd be down for it.
Anytime, we should every couple months, we should just get a random box of something. Did you?
No one on YouTube does that.
Listen, yeah, but no, listen. No one on YouTube has sports that.
Well,
and also,
no one can.
They've got
let's be
witchy
honest.
ones. They've got weird, sexy ones. They've got retro ones. They've got food ones. They've got little kits you can build your own robots and stuff. They got all kinds of crazy stuff.
Hey man, you buy it, I'll open it.
All right, it's a done deal. So, until next time, enjoy your unboxing. Good day. There you go. That looks good on you, Boat.
Thank you. So, that's a real thing.
What?
That word on there.
Cabanarama. Well, Colt Cabana is a guy.
At the Cabana.
His song is good. Boom, boom, Colt Cabana, boom, boom. He also was a commentator.
Sounds great.
Yeah. He's a big fun. He's a comedy worker. But he is in Japan right now, and he's in the finals of the tournament, he's the last 8.
How do you watch the Japan
I didn't watch
tournament?
it. I just heard about it.
Oh, okay.
You can watch it, though. Japan's got a streaming service.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. That's it. Let's take this thing to the house.
See you guys.
Thank you. Sorry for subjecting you to that, but we figured, what the hell?
We'll see you next Friday.
Bye, guys.